Hey guys, tonight we're going to wander the winding, rain-slicked streets of medieval Florence and peek into the minds of its citizens as they squint up at those unpredictable Florentine skies. Imagine the world around you shimmering with drizzle, the kind of rain that seeps into your shoes and your bones, all while the city's sandstone glows golden and wet. Water trickles off tiled roofs, splashes into uneven gutters, and you're left dodging puddles deeper than your patience. Florentines step out into the gray, some with heads bowed in resignation, others with a hopeful squint, always ready to debate if this downpour is a gift or a warning. Of course, you probably won't survive this. Let's be honest, between the cold, the mud, and the lack of waterproof anything, you're going to wish you were back in bed with a hot chocolate that won't be invented for another few centuries. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. I'd love to know where you're tuning in from and what time it is. Drop your location and local time in the comments. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You trudge along a narrow, uneven lane, the cobblestones glossy and treacherous beneath your feet. The sky above Florence is moody, a blanket of gray clouds that seem to press down on the city's famous domes and towers. In the present tense, rain is more than just weather. It's a living presence. You watch tiny rivers forming along the street edges, carrying stray petals, dirt, and the odd bit of refuse toward the Arno. The air is alive with the sound of droplets pinging off clay tiles, the distant clatter of a horse's hooves, and the occasional, unmistakable squelch of someone regretting their footwear choices. Florentines pause and glance skyward, some with a look of mild annoyance, others with awe. You notice a baker muttering under his breath, counting the seconds between lightning and thunder. An old trick for predicting just how bad things might get. There's a certain camaraderie in the damp. Everyone's in this together, yet everyone has their own theories about what the rain actually means. Some believe it's a blessing, others a curse, but no one stands in the middle of the street for long, unless they're hoping to catch a bit of luck or avoid an unlucky neighbor. You pass a group of women huddled under a crude awning, discussing whether the rain will ruin tomorrow's market or wash away the city's sins. A child splashes through a puddle, earning a scolding glance from his mother and a secret smile from a passing merchant. Rain is woven into the fabric of Florence, as essential and unpredictable as the city itself. You can almost taste the tension in the air, a mixture of damp stone, with smoke and anticipation. The city's architecture seems to huddle closer in the rain, arches and porticos offering rare shelter. You duck beneath a low archway, joining two old men who are already arguing about whether this storm is the worst since the infamous deluge of 1333. Historians still argue whether that flood was truly the most catastrophic, or if later floods simply got less press because everyone was too busy bailing out their cellars. The men's conversation drifts from weather to politics and back again, as if every drop of rain carries a political message straight from the heavens. A quirky local legend floats to the surface. Some claim that if you see a pigeon bathing in the rain, it means good luck for the week. You spot a determined pigeon shaking itself dry on a windowsill and wonder if you should place a bet at the next market game. The Florentines' relationship with rain is practical, mystical, and always tinged with a sense of humor. After all, if you can't laugh about soggy socks, what's left? You round a corner and nearly collide with an apprentice carrying a bundle of damp parchment. He grumbles about his master's obsession with documenting rainfall, convinced that if he keeps enough records, he'll finally predict when the rain will fall. The apprentice's hands are stained with ink, his cloak soaked through, and you can't help but admire his dedication, or pity his lack of common sense. As night falls, the city takes on a dreamlike quality, the rain blurring lantern light into hazy halos. You slip inside a tiny tavern, dripping and cold, only to find the conversation has already turned to the weather. A group of travelers debate whether rain brings out the city's beauty or its worst smells. You realize that, despite the centuries between you and these Florentines, rain is still the ultimate conversation starter, and the ultimate test of patience. So, as you settle in for tonight's story, remember, Florence's rain is as much a character as any Medici or poet. It shapes the city's mood, its rituals, and its endless debates. And tonight, you're right in the middle of it, umbrella-less and wide-eyed, wondering what the next downpour might bring. You stand in the drizzle, feeling the rain bead on your skin, while all around you, Florentines mutter and cross themselves. Here, every drop is loaded with meaning. Rain is not just a matter of soggy tunics or ruined bread. It is, for most people, a message from God Himself, as clear as any sermon echoing through Santa Maria del Fiore. You watch a merchant pause in the middle of the street, gaze fixed skyward, lips moving in a silent prayer or perhaps a quiet complaint. The drizzle seems to intensify, and for a fleeting moment, you wonder if the heavens are eavesdropping on Florence, taking notes. Medieval Florentines, like many Europeans of their time, see weather as a divine language. Rain can mean forgiveness, sent to wash away the city's wrongs, or it can signal rebuke, a celestial frown directed at greedy merchants, corrupt officials, or that one guy who always cheats at dice. You overhear an old woman, clutching her shawl tight, whispering that the current rain is St. Zenobius's way of reminding Florence not to skip Massachusetts. Her friend nods, eyes wide, as if missing church could summon a monsoon. Historians still argue whether these beliefs were held by everyone, or if some Florentines just used the weather as an excuse to avoid their chores. You duck under a rain-slicked portico, watching as a young priest makes his way through the puddles, cassock lifted just above the mud. His face is set in careful neutrality, but you can sense the tension. If the rain continues, tomorrow's procession may be cancelled, and the bishop will not be pleased. The priest's companion, a scholar from Pisa, scoffs under his breath, muttering that rain is merely atmospheric vapor, not a divine telegram. You almost expect thunder to answer him, but the clouds remain politely silent. The city's religious rituals are tightly woven with weather. When Florence suffers drought, processions wind through the streets, chanting for rain. But when the Arno threatens to burst its banks, the same faithful plead for the skies to close. You glimpse a group of children trailing after a nun, each clutching a candle and praying for clear skies so their festival won't be ruined. The nun, ever practical, carries a bucket, just in case the prayers are answered too exuberantly. A fringe belief, whispered by a few eccentric souls, claims the rain is the tears of saints, mourning the city's sins. Some even gather rainwater to sprinkle on their thresholds, hoping a saint's sorrow might bring good luck or at least cleaner doorsteps. You watch a neighbor carefully fill a clay jar, her movements reverent, as if bottling a miracle. Meanwhile, her husband grumbles that it's just water, and what he really wants is a miracle that keeps their roof from leaking. As you wander deeper into the city, you hear a heated debate near a market stall. One man insists that last year's unseasonable rains were divine punishment for the city's pride, while another argues that it was simply the price of living in a valley surrounded by hills. The debate gets louder, each man certain he alone understands the mysterious ways of heaven. Florentines love nothing more than to argue, especially about things no one can prove. You can't help but smile. Some things never change, no matter how many centuries pass. Rain shapes not just belief, but behavior. You notice that, when the rain is particularly heavy, even the most devout are tempted to stay home from Massachusetts. Yet, if the storm clears just as the bells ring, people rush out, convinced it's a sign of divine favor. You overhear a mother telling her children that if they behave, the rain will stop in time for the fair. If not, the heavens will cry all day. The threat is oddly effective, a medieval parenting hack, centuries before reverse psychology was invented. Some Florentines take the symbolism further, believing that the nature of the rain itself carries a message. A gentle drizzle is thought to signal mercy, while a violent thunderstorm is seen as divine anger. You watch as a scribe, sheltering under a shop awning, scribbles notes about the color and thickness of the clouds, comparing them to passages from the Bible. He wonders aloud if the Book of Job might hold hidden clues for Florence's forecast. Scholars still debate whether such symbolic readings were truly widespread, or if they were simply the obsessions of a few overzealous chroniclers. Of course, not everyone buys into these interpretations. The city's skeptics, often the younger scholars or the more world-weary merchants, roll their eyes at talk of sacred rain. You catch a pair of apprentices joking that if rain were truly a divine message, the city's bakers would be its most pious interpreters. The apprentices are promptly shushed by a passing nun, who warns that lightning has a way of striking the impious. Despite the jokes and debates, you sense that rain is never just a background detail here. It is a conversation, a warning, a blessing, a test. It is God's way of reminding Florence that, no matter how grand its palazzos or how clever its bankers, the city is always, in the end, at the mercy of the skies. You squeeze through the bustling, puddle-strewn marketplace as rain turns cobblestones slick and glimmering. Every routine in Florence bends, sometimes snaps, under the weight of a sudden downpour. You watch vendors scramble to drag their crates of fruit beneath makeshift awnings, muttering curses both creative and ancient. The figs are hastily covered with burlap, but the pears, well, you wouldn't buy those unless you're a fan of lightly poached fruit. Shoppers cluster beneath the few sturdy awnings, shoulder to shoulder, all pretending not to notice whose elbow is in whose bread basket. For most Florentines, rain is the city's invisible hand, rearranging plans at will. You see a laundress sigh as she pulls in half-dried linens, resigned to their fate as tomorrow's musty heap. Housewives peer anxiously from windows, debating whether to risk a dash to the well or simply ration the water and hope for sun. Historians still argue whether weather truly dictated the medieval schedule, or whether Florentines just liked blaming the rain for their chronic lateness. In the present, it's clear that no one is immune. Even the most punctual merchant has learned to pad his schedule for sudden storms. You pass the cathedral square, where the rain has thinned the usual crowds. The faithful cluster near the main entrance, hunched beneath cloaks and hoods, peering out at the sky like nervous cats. The bell for Vespers tolls, but only the bravest souls venture out, skipping from awning to archway in a soggy ballet. A friar offers a quick blessing to each as they dash by, perhaps hoping for divine protection, or at least dry socks. On the far side of the piazza, a group of artisans debate their odds of finishing the day's work. The stonecutters bicker about whether the rain will weaken the lime mortar, while the woodworkers simply shrug and mutter about warped boards. You notice one clever fellow using a discarded wine cask as a makeshift helmet, drawing snickers from his friends and a stern look from his master. Fringe thinkers in the city, always ready with a new scheme, swear by unusual rain hacks. One tailor claims that rubbing goose fat on your boots will keep them dry, though you suspect he's just looking for an excuse to smell like dinner. A sudden gust of wind sends a spray of droplets under a portico, dousing a group of scholars deep in conversation. Their books are quickly tucked under cloaks, but a few pages are sacrificed to the elements. One scholar laments that the best ideas always come when the ink runs. You can't help but laugh. Surely, medieval Florence invented the soggy notebook long before modern coffee shops. Children, meanwhile, see the rain as an invitation. A trio darts from door to door, shrieking gleefully as they leap over puddles and occasionally into them, to the horror of their mothers. You spot one small boy, face smeared with mud, proudly displaying what he claims is a rain frog, which looks suspiciously like a lump of moss. His sister insists it's good luck, while his mother mostly insists he get out of her kitchen. Rain shapes the soundscape of the city too. The usual clang of hammers and the shouts of vendors are muffled, replaced by the steady patter of water on tile and the slap of wet feet on stone. The air feels different, heavier, cooler, scented with wet earth and smoke. You notice how every doorway becomes a stage for small acts of kindness or impatience. Strangers invited under overhangs, or shoved aside as space becomes precious. Not everything slows down, though. Some trades thrive in the rain. You watch a fishmonger hawk his wares more loudly than usual. After all, what's a little more water? He jokes that the rain is just God's way of freshening up his merchandise. His rival, the cheesemonger, is less amused, eyeing his dissolving wares with the look of a man who's seen too many soggy wheels of pecorino. A quirky custom persists in some quarters. On rainy days, certain families set out bowls to collect the first water, believing it's luckier and purer than what comes later. You spot a woman carefully positioning her bowl, waving away a neighbor who warns her about rooftop pigeon contributions. The debate continues. Does first rain bring fortune, or just a taste of Florence's famous airborne surprises? You pass a group of young apprentices, loafing in a doorway, debating whether to return to their masters or simply wait out the weather. One claims his master believes that working in the rain sharpens character. Another is convinced it only sharpens the risk of catching a chill. The apprentices settle the matter as all good debates are settled, with a game of dice, and the loser is sent to fetch more firewood as you move on. You notice how rain subtly shifts the city's social lines. The wealthy with their deep doorways and covered loggias remain relatively dry, while the poor huddle wherever they can, grateful for even the smallest patch of shelter. It's a reminder that rain, like fortune, rarely falls evenly. By late afternoon, the rain ebbs a little, and life cautiously resumes its normal pace. Stalls reopen, children are herded home, and a bell tolls in the distance. You catch yourself wondering, just for a second, if maybe you've picked up the Florentine habit of assigning meaning to the weather. Perhaps the rain is a message, or perhaps it's just an excuse to linger a little longer, listening to the city sing its damp, ancient lullaby. You inhale deeply and the city's signature after-rain aroma fills your nostrils. A damp, mineral tang that clings to everything from your cloak to your hair. The wet stone of Florence is like nothing you've ever smelled before. It's part clean, like a river just after a storm, and part earthy, as if centuries of footsteps and spilled wine have seeped into the flagstones, only to be coaxed out by the rain. With every breath, you're drawn deeper into the sensory landscape of medieval Florence. As you shuffle down the Via dei Calzaioli, droplets trickle from ornate window ledges, landing on your shoulders with cold precision. The smell is both comforting and mysterious, a curious blend of sanctity and grime. Florentines are keenly aware of this peculiar perfume. Some say the rain cleanses the city's soul. Others believe it simply stirs up memories best left undisturbed. You pass an elderly man on his stoop who claims, with a wink, that he can predict rainfall by sniffing the stones at dawn. Historians still argue whether such stone sniffers were respected for their meteorological skill, or simply tolerated for comic relief. A group of artisans nearby debate the best rain aroma: the courtyard's moss, the river's mud, or the sweet rot of wet chestnut leaves. One woman insists the smell of rain on terracotta roof tiles brings good fortune, prompting her neighbor to scoff that all it brings is slippery footing and a bruised backside. You smile. It's hard not to, when every errand is laced with good-natured bickering. The city's architecture amplifies the experience. Water cascades from carved gargoyles, pooling at the feet of saints who, centuries later, still seem mildly annoyed at having wet toes. You watch as a stray dog shakes itself dry in the shadow of a marble Madonna, sending a fresh wave of droplets across a row of market baskets. A nearby merchant curses in a whisper, then laughs at his own misfortune. After all, if you can't beat the rain, you might as well join the city's choir of grumbling. There are whispers that the rain scent changes with the seasons, a sign for some that the city itself breathes and ages along with its people. In spring, the air is tinged with new green growth, while autumn rain brings the rich, loamy smell of decaying leaves and wood smoke. A few curious souls claim that certain rare storms carry the fragrance of distant lands, blown in over the mountains, a patchwork perfume that sets off speculation about what the merchants are bringing back from the east. You pause beside a fountain, fingers trailing through the cool water as the rain eases. An apprentice painter, huddled nearby, sketches the slick reflections on the pavement. He mutters that the colors after rain are impossible to capture. Too vivid, too fleeting. His master, on the other hand, swears by painting only after storms, when every hue is sharpened by the city's damp breath. The debate between sun painters and rain painters is as lively as any in Florence, and no less passionate than the arguments over Dante's verses. A particularly quirky tidbit floats your way. Some Florentines believe that the smell of rain on stone can ward off fevers if you breathe it in just before sunrise. You spot a woman, hair wild and eyes sharp, making her morning rounds with deep, theatrical inhalations, much to the amusement of her neighbors. Whether she's a visionary or just enjoys being the talk of the quarter, it's clear she's made an art of savoring the city's scents. The city's rain-soaked fragrance isn't universally beloved, though. One well-dressed youth pinches his nose as he tiptoes through a puddle, complaining loudly about the stench of the lower quarters. His companion rolls her eyes, countering that the real stench comes from the dye vats, rain or shine. You realize that even the sense of smell can be as much about status as about experience in this city. The Arno River, swollen and muddy, lends its own notes to the air, a brackish, almost metallic tang that reminds everyone of the river's moods. On especially humid days, the scent lingers long after the last raindrop has fallen. Some say it's a warning, others a promise. You overhear a miller mutter that if the river smells angry, it's best to keep a close eye on the water level. Rainy days make Florence feel like a living being. Its stone, its streets, even its air shaped by the weather. You catch yourself pausing to breathe it all in, the way a Florentine might, reading omens in every odor. Historians still debate whether these sensory rituals had any practical effect, or if they simply gave people a sense of control in a world ruled by unpredictable skies. By dusk, as the last mist rises and the city's lamps flicker to life, the rain scent lingers, soft, persistent, and oddly reassuring. It's the perfume of a city in constant conversation with the clouds above and the earth below. You realize that, in Florence, even something as simple as a wet stone has its own story to tell, and tonight you're right there to listen. You push your way through a crowded alley as the rain falls harder, droplets splattering against your brow and running down your cheeks. It quickly becomes clear that medieval Florence does not cater to your modern expectations. Umbrellas, those handy domes of fabric and wire, have not yet made their debut on the European scene. Instead, you observe a parade of damp improvisation. Florentines wrap themselves in thick woolen cloaks, pull cowls low over their faces, and huddle beneath whatever shelter they can find, be it a market canopy or the outstretched arm of a generous neighbor. You spot a young woman clutching a heavy shawl around her shoulders, the fabric so saturated it drips steadily onto her shoes. She laughs and shrugs, declaring that a good soaking is the price of living in paradise. Historians still argue whether Florentines truly saw their city as heaven on earth, or whether this was simply a phrase muttered through chattering teeth while trying to stay positive. Either way, there's no denying that nobody here is dry for long. The city's well-to-do have their own defenses. You notice a wealthy merchant ducking from doorway to doorway, his cloak lined with a rare coating of oiled leather, a luxury most can only dream of. His boots, expertly crafted and fastened tight, are the envy of every apprentice who sloshes by in soggy sandals. Still, even the richest heads are vulnerable. Hats droop and feathers wilt, and the proudest mustaches droop in solidarity. For everyone else, the strategy is simple. Endure, adapt, and joke about it later. You pass a group of boys wearing what appear to be flour sacks with holes cut for their arms, each one a testament to their mother's creativity and possibly her irritation. One boy boasts that his sack is blessed by San Giovanni himself, which prompts a round of laughter and a few skeptical glances upward, just in case the saint is listening. There are, of course, the inventors, those restless souls determined to outwit the weather. One cobbler, notorious for his wild ideas, has fashioned a crude hood from waxed parchment, secured with twine beneath his chin. You watch as he parades through the rain, face set in determined defiance, until a gust of wind whips his invention away and into the Arno. The crowd's laughter echoes down the street, and the cobbler, unfazed, vows to try again with pig bladder next time. A quirky belief persists that the best way to stay dry is to move quickly. Florentines dash from one awning to another, convinced that speed alone can outpace the rain. You attempt this method, only to discover that wet cobblestones are far more interested in your dignity than your comfort. You slip, catch yourself, and earn an approving nod from an old woman who claims that a tumble in the rain brings a year of good luck, provided you don't break your nose. Meanwhile, certain fringes of society swear by more unusual practices. Some artisans insist that a sprig of rosemary tucked into your cloak will repel the rain, though you notice the only thing it seems to repel is anyone who dislikes strong smells. You overhear a group of washerwomen arguing about whether standing barefoot in the rain will toughen your feet or simply give you a cold. The debate is lively, punctuated by the occasional sneeze. For those with no choice but to brave the elements, the struggle is real. You see a baker trudging home, loaves balanced expertly on his head, shielded only by a battered wooden tray. His wife waits at the door, arms crossed, ready to declare that rain-soaked bread is a sign of poor planning. The baker, for his part, only grins and claims it's extra moist, sparking a round of neighborhood laughter. Yet, despite all this, there's a certain camaraderie in shared discomfort. Strangers huddle together beneath narrow eaves, exchanging rumors, recipes, and jokes about the city's endless rain. You hear a man declare with mock solemnity that in Florence, even the saints forget their umbrellas. His audience erupts in laughter, and for a moment, everyone seems to forget their dripping sleeves and sodden shoes. Historians still debate whether Florence's lack of rain gear was due to stubbornness, poverty, or simply a belief that the rain was not to be feared. What's clear is that Florentines have made an art of adaptation. Every wet day is a new opportunity for improvisation, a stage for laughter and resilience. And as you stand there, cloak clinging to your skin and hair plastered to your forehead, you realize you've become just another actor in the city's ongoing comedy of errors that as the downpour finally begins to ease, you spot a rainbow arching faintly over the city's rooftops. Children point and shout, mothers smile, and even the most bedraggled merchant pauses to admire the view. For a moment, the discomfort of wet feet gives way to a feeling of shared wonder. A reminder that, in Florence, rain is as much about connection as it is about inconvenience. You find yourself drifting toward the heart of Florence where, beneath the shadow of a grand church, a crowd is gathering. Rain has a way of summoning both the holy and the hopeful. You watch as a cluster of priests, their cassocks already edged with damp, begin a slow, rhythmic procession, each step measured, each face solemn. Incense wafts through the rain, mingling with the earthy smell of wet stone, lending the air a dreamlike quality. Someone in the crowd murmurs, a familiar story, that rain comes or goes not by chance, but by the will of God, coaxed or chastised by the prayers of the faithful. Tonight's procession is neither rare nor routine. It is the city's answer to uncertainty. When the fields are dry, you've seen similar gatherings. Priests leading townsfolk across muddy squares, chanting and swinging censers, pleading for the heavens to open. Now, as water drips from every eave and the Arno runs fat and brown, the prayers turn urgent. Let the rain ease, let the river rest, let our homes stay safe. Historians still argue whether these rituals truly brought comfort or merely kept up appearances, but it's clear that, in the moment, everyone is a believer. You edge closer, drawn by the low hum of voices and the flicker of candlelight protected by makeshift waxed paper hoods. The clergy's processional cross glints in the drizzle, and children press close to their mothers, eyes wide at the spectacle. A priest, his voice rising over the patter of rain, invokes the saints. Saint Zenobius for city blessings, Saint John for mercy, Saint Reparata for protection from floods. The litany is long, and some children fidget, but the adults answer every invocation with thunderous, ora pro nobis, pray for us, as if shouting might pierce the clouds themselves. It's not just the official clergy who get involved. You notice a handful of older women, wrapped in shawls, murmuring their own prayers and clutching talismans. Bits of bone, scraps of ribbon, coins with crude crosses scratched into them. One woman claims her great-aunt could draw down the rain by turning a cup upside down and reciting a secret rhyme. Another swears that her cousin once stopped a hailstorm by tossing salt over her shoulder and spinning in a doorway. The line between ritual and superstition is as blurry as the rain-soaked streets. A particularly quirky fringe practice catches your eye. A group of young men, convinced that music can sway the skies, bang pots and pans together, hoping to scare away the clouds. Their racket draws both laughter and scolding, and an old priest wags a finger at them, declaring that the saints prefer Gregorian chant, not a noisy kitchen. The boys only grin, undeterred. The rain gives everyone a little more license to be foolish. You can't help but notice how rain processions become a stage for the city's social drama. The wealthy cluster near the front, closest to the relics and the bishop's blessing, their fine cloaks held aloft by nervous servants. The poor gather behind, sometimes left peering over shoulders or tiptoeing for a glimpse of the gilded cross. Even here, the rain finds its way in, dampening velvet and wool alike, reminding everyone that, under the sky, differences only matter so much. The processional route weaves through narrow streets, lanterns bobbing in the gloom. You overhear a merchant whisper that last year's procession failed to stop a disastrous flood, while another insists the prayers worked. After all, the city is still standing, isn't it? Historians still debate whether these processions were effective public works or elaborate placebos, but there's no denying their power to gather people together, united in hope or anxiety. As the procession nears the river, the prayers grow more fervent. The Arno, always unpredictable, is both lifeblood and threat to Florence. A priest steps forward, holding aloft a relic. Some say a bone of Saint Zenobius, others claim it's a chunk of the true cross, and dips it toward the water, reciting a blessing meant to calm the river's rage. The crowd falls silent, the rain itself seeming to pause in anticipation. A last, quiet moment. As the procession turns back into the city, a child's voice pipes up, asking if the saints have heard them this time. A mother squeezes her hand, offering reassurance only half believed. You feel the tension in the air, hope, fear, the weight of tradition pressing down as surely as the rain. Later, you see townsfolk lingering in doorways, discussing the day's ritual. Some are convinced the sky has brightened, if only a little. Others remain skeptical, eyeing the clouds and muttering about tomorrow's forecast. But for now, the city breathes together. Clergy, skeptic, and superstitious neighbor alike, united by ritual, rain, and the stubborn belief that someone, somewhere, might be listening. You wander into a quiet chapel tucked behind the bustle of the main square, the rain's rhythm softening as you step inside. The air is thick with candle smoke and the faint aroma of wet wool. Your eyes are drawn immediately to the walls, where centuries-old frescoes bloom with color even in the dim light. Here, in these painted stories, you notice something odd. Rain makes its appearance sometimes front and center, sometimes as a subtle backdrop. Florentine artists, ever attuned to the anxieties of their patrons and neighbors, have found countless ways to weave weather into sacred and secular art. On one wall, Saint Zenobius raises his hand to a darkened sky, a narrow band of silver paint suggesting rain falling on the city below. The faithful kneel, faces upturned, awaiting either blessing or punishment. You step closer, marveling at the detail, water depicted as delicate lines, each drop a silent prayer or warning. The artist's technique is centuries ahead of its time, using overlapping glazes to give the illusion of wetness on stone and leaf. Historians still argue whether this effect was intentional or a happy accident of fading pigments, but the result is striking all the same. Elsewhere in the chapel, you spot a more literal interpretation. Noah's Ark bobs atop a stormy sea, rain lashing down in thick blue streaks. Animals peer through tiny windows, while townsfolk below huddle under cloaks, clearly more concerned with the downpour than the impending flood. It's as if the artist couldn't resist sneaking a little Florentine misery into a biblical scene. A wink to those who have ever cursed a ruined festival or a leaky roof. Not all depictions are so somber. In a corner fresco, a spring celebration unfolds beneath a gentle drizzle. Children dance, flowers in their hair, as mothers spread cloths to catch blessed rain. The artist, perhaps less skilled or more hurried, has painted the rain as a series of joyful dots, almost like confetti. You overhear a local guide explaining that, in some years, a rainy May was welcomed as a sign of a fruitful harvest. Quirky as it sounds, a few families still hang copies of this fresco in their homes, hoping its cheerful drizzle will bring luck. The city's grandest sites, cathedrals, guild halls, and palazzi, offer their own visual commentary. On the baptistry doors, you trace the story of the flood, the rain etched in gold, each droplet catching the light. In the Palazzo Vecchio, a mural of a victorious battle is interrupted by a sudden squall. The soldiers' expressions are a mix of triumph and damp annoyance. You can't help but grin. Leave it to a Florentine to remember the weather even in their moments of glory. You slip into a nearby painter's workshop, the air alive with the scent of oils and turpentine. Here, apprentices grind pigments as their master debates the merits of depicting rain in religious scenes. He argues that rain is a visual metaphor for grace, for cleansing, for change. His apprentice, bold and a bit cheeky, suggests that rain is simply the painter's excuse for blurring mistakes. The workshop erupts in laughter, And you sense that this debate is as old as fresco itself, a lesser-known but fascinating tidbit. Some artists, frustrated by the unpredictability of rain, began to experiment with new techniques for drying their frescoes faster. You watch as one apprentice fans a wet wall with a sheet of parchment, muttering that a rainy week means double the work and half the pay. These innovations, born of necessity, would eventually influence artistic methods far beyond Florence. Outside, you notice how rain shapes not just the content but the mood of Florentine art. Statues glisten with moisture, their marble faces streaked with dark lines where water has run. Some say these stains are the city's tears. Others, more practical, call them nature's graffiti. Historians still debate whether medieval viewers saw these marks as flaws or as enhancements, evidence of a living, breathing city always in conversation with its weather. You pass a street artist sketching beneath a dripping arcade, his charcoal drawing capturing the shimmer of wet stone and the huddle of rain-soaked feet. He pauses, grins up at you, and declares that Florence is never more beautiful than under a gray sky, every color richer, every shadow deeper. It's a sentiment you've heard echoed throughout your journey, a kind of stubborn pride in the city's rainy day charm. As you leave the chapel, you glance back at the frescoes, images of rain, both real and symbolic, hidden and obvious. You realize that, for the people of medieval Florence, rain is not just a nuisance. It is inspiration, warning, blessing, and memory, all painted into the city's walls for generations to decipher. You duck out of the drizzle and into the dim warmth of a cluttered apothecary, where the scent of rosemary and vinegar nearly masks the musty odor of rain-soaked stone. Here, the world of medieval medicine unfolds in all its pungent, peculiar glory. Shelves are crammed with jars of dried herbs, bundles of roots, and mysterious powders, each promising some degree of relief from the city's damp ailments. The apothecary himself, a man with ink-stained fingers and the air of a secret keeper, greets you with a knowing smile. Rain is both healer and hazard, he declares, as if you've just arrived for a consultation on the subject. For the Florentines, rain is as much a topic for the physician as for the priest. You watch a mother fret over her coughing child, convinced that the damp air has settled in the lungs. The apothecary recommends a syrup of honey and rosemary, mixed with a dash of vinegar, an old remedy, he assures her, for banishing the evil humors brought on by wet weather. Historians still argue whether such concoctions provided real relief, or merely soothed the nerves of anxious parents, but the ritual itself is comforting. You notice a shelf labeled aqua pluvialis, rainwater collected from the first spring showers and stored in tightly sealed bottles. According to local belief, this water has special properties, especially when gathered during a thunderstorm. Some claim it can cure fevers. Others say it wards off the ague, a catch-all term for every shiver and chill. The apothecary confides in you, sotto voce, that certain customers believe rainwater collected on the feast day of Saint Zenobius can break even the worst curse. Whether magic or medicine, the line is blurred. Florence is a city where the miraculous is always just one prayer or potion away. Quirky remedies abound. A young apprentice grinds a mixture of garlic, sage, and a few drops of rainwater, swearing that it will keep the bones from aching. You spot a scroll of tightly written recipes, some more believable than others. The apothecary waves a hand at one particularly odd entry, a poultice of soaked bread, rosemary, and a pinch of ashes, meant to draw out dampness of the spirit. You wonder if this is just a way of keeping idle hands busy on a rainy day. Not all trust the apothecary's craft. You overhear a heated debate between two women, one convinced that her headaches are cured by rainwater tea, the other adamant that only a priest's blessing will do. The apothecary, ever the diplomat, suggests a little of both and sneaks a wink in your direction. Historians still debate whether medieval Florentines leaned more on science, superstition, or sheer stubbornness when it came to health. You're intrigued by the way rain shapes not just medicine, but daily routines. On especially damp days, you learn some Florentines avoid certain foods, no fresh cheese, no shellfish, and certainly no cold wine. The belief is that cold and wet foods invite cold and wet illnesses, as if the body is as sensitive to the weather as a streetside puddle. A merchant, passing through for a dose of camphor, jokes that rain is the best excuse for skipping his wife's watery soup. You can't help but notice how rainwater itself is both feared and revered. Some families keep a bowl of rainwater by the door, dipping their fingers in it before entering, as if to leave misfortune outside. Others avoid even touching it, convinced that bad air rides in on the droplets. You spot a child with a string of garlic around his neck, his mother explaining that it's for protection from the wet. Whether she means illness or evil spirits is unclear. Perhaps, in Florence, the two are one and the same. A fringe healer, famous in the neighborhood for her outlandish cures, bustles in carrying a basket of rain-soaked herbs. She claims that rosemary picked during a storm is twice as powerful, especially when dried above a smoky fire. Her rivals scoff, but her door is never without a queue after a particularly violent downpour. She offers you a taste of her latest concoction, a syrup of honey, rainwater, and a mysterious, secret ingredient. You sip, and it tastes surprisingly pleasant, like rain itself, with a hint of something wild. The apothecary's cat, unimpressed with the whole affair, leaps onto the counter, shakes off a few droplets, and surveys the room with a regal disdain. Perhaps the only creature in Florence immune to the rain's mystique. As you step back into the street, the apothecary calls after you. Remember, rain cures some ills and causes others. Best not to trust it too much. You nod, feeling the weight of centuries-old wisdom and just a hint of superstition settle on your shoulders. Florence, it seems, believes in the rain with every sense, every remedy, every whispered hope for health. You step from the apothecary's fragrant gloom into a street alive with whispers, the rain now a steady drizzle that seems to amplify every rumor and superstition. In Florence, the weather is never just weather. It's a harbinger, a gossip, a trickster that keeps the city guessing. Neighbors cluster beneath overhanging eaves and lean from upper windows, trading stories as fluid as the water pooling along the alleys. A group of washerwomen, their arms folded and aprons already spattered with droplets, discuss a recent wedding that proceeded under a sudden shower. One insists that rain on a wedding day is a sign of fertility and luck, provided the bride doesn't slip on the church steps. Another scoffs, saying it's only good luck for the baker, who'll sell more bread to guests stuck inside. Such is the city's charm, every superstition gets countered by a practical joke or two. Historians still argue whether these beliefs were truly ancient or simply the inventions of clever merchants looking to save face when their wares got soaked. You overhear an old man claiming that if it rains while the sun is shining, a fox is getting married somewhere nearby. The children, delighted, dash off to search for foxes, their shouts echoing down the street. A passing merchant shakes his head, muttering that such weather is also a sign that tomorrow's market will be blessed with bargains, or perhaps just more rain. Rain is also entwined with omens of misfortune. You listen as a black-clad widow recounts how a sudden storm the night her husband fell ill was surely a warning from the heavens. Her neighbor counters with a story of a goat that refused to leave its pen, just before a week of relentless showers. In Florence, animals are as likely as priests to predict the weather, and sometimes considered more reliable. Quirky tidbits abound. There's a belief that if you count 6 heavy raindrops on your window before sunrise, you'll receive a letter from a distant relative. Another rumor, popular among the city's young lovers, holds that sharing a cloak during a rainstorm is a guarantee of marriage within the year. Unless, of course, one of you steps in a puddle first, which cancels the spell entirely. These stories, repeated with a wink or a sigh, seem to grow with each telling, as if the rain itself inspires their invention. Not all talk is lighthearted. Some Florentines whisper about the rain's power to reveal secrets, muddy footprints exposing midnight visits, or gutters carrying away tokens best left undiscovered. You catch a glance exchanged between two neighbors, both clearly remembering a certain scandalous night when the rain washed more than just the streets clean. Rain, in Florence, never forgets. As you pass a group of street children huddled beneath a bridge, you hear them debating whether the rain will wake the river spirits and bring fortune or mischief. The oldest, a self-styled expert, insists that dropping a pebble into the gutter will guarantee a secret wish comes true, provided you don't tell anyone what you wished for. You try it yourself, just in case. Who are you to argue with centuries of soggy wisdom? the city's more eccentric citizens take their rain rituals to the next level. An old woman, known for her uncanny ability to predict market prices, swears she can tell the future by watching how raindrops run down her window. She invites you to watch the slowest drop, she claims, points to a week of easy trade, while a split drop warns of a surprise tax from the palazzo. Historians still debate whether these folk practices ever influenced the city's real decisions, or if they simply provided comfort against uncertainty. Occasionally, superstition clashes with practicality. You spot a merchant's apprentice flapping his hands and muttering that if he doesn't finish counting his coins before the rain stops, his master's profits will vanish. His companion, less convinced, tells him to hurry up or risk getting his ledger soaked. The city is full of such half-believed rituals, each one a thread in the tapestry of daily life. Despite all the anxiety and speculation, the rain also brings moments of shared laughter. A passing monk jokes that if you sneeze 3 times in the rain, you'll find a coin before nightfall, though he adds with a wink, it's usually just someone else's lost button. The group chuckles, the sound rising above the patter of rain. You realize, as you wander on, that in Florence, superstition and street gossip are as much a part of the city as the stones under your feet. Rain is not just water from the sky. It's a story, a warning, a promise, and sometimes, simply the excuse for one more tale before the storm passes. You wander down to the banks of the Arno, the rain now a steady curtain, blurring the city's edges and turning the river's surface into a restless patchwork of ripples. This is where Florence's relationship with rain grows fraught, almost mythical. The river, so vital to the city's prosperity, is both friend and foe. You sense the unease in the air, a blend of reverence and fear, as citizens gather at the water's edge, eyes fixed on the rising current. Florentines speak of the Arno with the same caution they reserve for powerful rulers. When the rain comes heavy and fast, as it does tonight, the river swells, hungrily swallowing the banks and threatening to creep into the lower quarters. You overhear anxious talk about the spirit of the river, a belief that's as old as the city's stones. Some claim the Arno has moods, sometimes generous, sometimes wrathful, and that rain is the river's way of voicing its pleasure or displeasure. Historians still argue whether these river gods were remnants of ancient Roman beliefs or simply a poetic way to explain the unpredictable floods. A particularly superstitious fisherman sits on an overturned barrel, muttering prayers and tossing crumbs into the water. He tells you that the Arno spirit, when angered by too much rain, can pull a man under or ruin a season's catch. When appeased, though, it brings fish and fertile silt. You watch as he carefully pours a small cup of wine into the river, a fringe ritual meant to sweeten the temper of the water, though he admits with a wink that he saves the best wine for himself. Floods are both feared and remembered with a strange pride. You spot a stone marker, half hidden by moss, commemorating the infamous flood of 1333, when the rain fell so hard the river burst its banks, sweeping away bridges and homes. It's become a touchstone for Florentine resilience. Everyone has a story of an ancestor who survived, or at least claimed to. The debate continues about whether the city ever really learned from these disasters or simply rebuilt and waited for the next deluge. A group of children, oblivious to the adults' concern, play at the water's edge, launching makeshift boats crafted from walnut shells and candle stubs. They cheer as the boats bob and spin, each one a tiny prayer for survival against the river's might. Their laughter rings out, a reminder that even in the face of danger, life presses on. One child insists that if your boat makes it to the far bank, you'll have good luck all year. If it sinks, you must toss a pebble in to appease the river spirit. The rain, relentless, continues to beat down as you watch the water rise inch by inch. Merchants and artisans hurry to move their goods to higher ground, cursing the weather and, occasionally, each other. A miller, whose livelihood depends on the river's flow but not its fury, anxiously measures the waterline with a notched stick. He tells you that the Arno listens to the city's fortunes. When the people are greedy or quarrelsome, the river punishes them. When they are generous, it rewards. You hear a whispered story from a washerwoman. She claims that a ghostly figure appears on the bridge before every great flood, warning those who will listen. Some say it's the spirit of a drowned monk, others that it's the river god himself in disguise. Historians still debate whether such legends sprang up only after disasters or if they were always part of the city's attempt to make sense of nature's whims. A quirky practice persists among the riverbank dwellers. After a heavy rain, they gather to watch for omens in the debris carried downstream. A red ribbon caught in a branch means a wedding is near. A broken shoe foretells hard times. You spot a small crowd peering into the swirling water, each person quietly hoping for a good sign as night falls. The lamps along the river flicker to life, their glow reflected in the shifting surface of the Arno. The rain finally begins to ease, but the tension remains. A city holding its breath, waiting to see if the river will spare it this time. You realize that, for medieval Florentines, rain is never just an inconvenience. It is a conversation with powers both seen and unseen, a dialogue that shapes everything from daily chores to the deepest fears and hopes. You turn away from the river, the sound of the water still in your ears, and head back toward the city's heart. Behind you, the Arno flows on, swollen and mysterious, carrying with it the stories of countless rains and the prayers of a city forever at its mercy. You weave your way back from the river as the rain tapers to a fine mist, the city's palaces and hovels shimmering equally in the damp. Here, on these rain-washed streets, social status is not just a matter of gold or titles. It's visible in how you weather the storm. Florence is a city of layers, and the rain has a sly way of peeling them back, revealing who is sheltered and who must brave the elements. The wealthiest Florentines seem to float above the puddles, gliding beneath the covered loggias of their grand homes or dashing from carriage to marble portico with barely a drop on their embroidered sleeves. You spot a merchant's daughter, her slippers untouched by mud, shielded by two servants holding a stretched woolen canopy. She laughs, eyes bright, as she surveys the city below her. Rain, to her, is a minor inconvenience, even a novelty. Historians still argue whether such displays of wealth were meant to inspire admiration or thinly veiled envy. But either way, the message is clear. Fortune can buy a dry cloak, if not a dry day. Meanwhile, the city's artisans and shopkeepers must make do. You watch a cobbler hastily nailing a plank across his doorway to keep the water at bay, pausing only to wink at a passing baker whose apron is already soaked. Their banter is light, but there's a subtle competition. Who can improvise the cleverest defense against the rain? Whose shop will stay driest? For many, the weather is both obstacle and opportunity. A dry stoop draws customers. A leaky roof sends them running to the competition. In this drizzle-soaked city, every drop is a test of resourcefulness. Then there are the city's poorest, those who live in cramped, low-lying quarters close to the river or the ancient walls. You see a family huddled beneath a warped wooden awning, their belongings stacked high to avoid the rising puddles. A mother pats her children's heads, murmuring that the rain will make them grow strong. But you sense the worry in her glance toward the darkening clouds. A neighbor stops to share a scrap of bread, and the group exchanges weary jokes about Florentine swimming lessons. It's a scene repeated all across the city. Poverty made visible by the weather, resilience forged by necessity. Among the city's outcasts and wanderers, rain is both curse and companion. You notice a ragged man with a long staff, singing snatches of a half-remembered hymn as he trudges through the rain. He pauses to tip his hat to a stray cat, inviting it beneath the eaves with a flourish. There's a strange camaraderie among those left out in the wet, an unspoken understanding that, for a few hours, everyone is a little less alone. Quirky as it sounds, some say the rain levels the city. If only for a moment, dissolving boundaries as surely as it dissolves the dirt from the stones. Yet even in this fleeting equality, the differences linger. You notice the finest cloaks are made from imported wool, lined with soft leather, while the poor wrap themselves in patched blankets and rough-spun capes. Some wealthier citizens dab scented oil on their collars to mask the smell of damp, a luxury far beyond the reach of most. Street gossip is quick to note who appears in public with dry boots and who must wring out their only pair by the fire each night. Historians still debate whether Florentine society was as rigid as it seemed, or if the constant churn of commerce and crisis allowed for more mobility than the chroniclers cared to admit. Either way, on a rainy day, you can read a person's fortune in the way they walk, the shelter they find, the humor they muster as the city drips around them. A particularly quirky custom persists among the city's children. They turn the rain into a game of pretend palazzo, crowding beneath staircases and awnings, declaring themselves lords and ladies for as long as the storm lasts. The smallest play at being the servants, fetching imaginary goblets of rainwater and issuing grand proclamations about the weather. You hear one girl giggle. If I were truly rich, I'd buy the sun and rent it out by the hour. You pass a tailor's shop where a heated argument has broken out. One customer, soaked to the bone, demands a discount on a cloak now tested by the weather. The tailor only shrugs, declaring that Florentine rain makes the strongest stitches. The city's humor is as sharp as its need. Everyone hustles, barters, and bargains for an edge over the elements as the mist lifts and the city's towers reappear. You realize that rain has shown you Florence's true shape, not just its stones and arches, but its hierarchies, its kindness, its stubborn pride. Whether you walk beneath a canopy of silk or huddle with strangers in a doorway, the rain is a great revealer, and tonight, it has told 1,000 quiet stories beneath the Florentine sky. You wander through a labyrinth of alleyways where Florence's fashion sense is on full, rain-soaked display. The city's usual flair for style meets its match in the unpredictable weather, and tonight you witness the creative, the resourceful, and the downright ridiculous parade past. Rain in Florence is an equalizer, but it also reveals who's practical, who's proud, and who's perfectly willing to risk pneumonia for the sake of a good impression. You spot a wealthy wool merchant striding down the street. His cloak of deep crimson wool draped elegantly over his shoulders. The fabric beads with rain, thanks to a secret blend of lanolin and beeswax, an innovation whispered about in the city's back rooms. He tips his felt hat, the feather only slightly droopy, and you note how his boots, imported no doubt, shine despite the puddles. Historians still argue whether Florence truly led the way in waterproofing technology, or if these tricks were imported and improved by enterprising locals. Either way, the merchant's stride is confident, his discomfort well hidden nearby. A less fortunate apprentice scurries along, his tunic pulled tight, feet wrapped in scraps of burlap beneath battered sandals. He ducks beneath every overhang, cursing softly as a torrent from a broken gutter soaks his shoulder. Some say the best rain gear is whatever you can find before the next cloudburst. And tonight, you believe it. A group of washerwomen pass by, skirts hiked up, their heads covered in mismatched shawls and kerchiefs. They laugh at each other's makeshift hoods, comparing the relative merits of flour sacks versus old curtains. One woman declares that the latter lets the water out as fast as it comes in. Earning a round of knowing snickers, not everyone is so resigned. A dandy, determined to maintain his dignity, minces along in shoes with little copper buckles, a cloak so short it barely covers his elbows. He holds a handkerchief, embroidered with his initials, delicately above his head as if it might ward off the rain. You catch the eye of a passing stonemason, who grins and whispers, "That one's dressed for the angels, not the Arno." The city's sense of humor is sharp and gentle at once. Fashion is a source of pride, but also endless amusement. A quirky local belief holds that a green ribbon tied around the wrist will keep sleeves dry, provided you recite a rhyme as you don it. You spot a gaggle of children testing the theory, their ribbons already soaked and their giggles echoing through the alley. Whether it works or not is beside the point. The ritual itself is as much a part of Florentine rain as the puddles on every corner in the wealthier districts. You catch glimpses of more refined rainwear. Cloaks lined with oiled silk, hats with broad brims, even the occasional fur-trimmed mantle. The ladies of the city, ever inventive, drape their hair in scarves dyed in rich hues, emerald, saffron, indigo, transforming their soggy struggle into an impromptu fashion show. One matron clucks her tongue at the mud splatter on her hem, declaring that real Florentine grace is knowing how to walk without leaving a trail. Historians still debate whether these flourishes were meant to display wealth, boost morale, or simply distract from the damp discomfort. What's certain is that even in the rain, Florence is a city that dresses for the occasion. Sometimes with a wink, sometimes with a sigh. You pause by a tailor's workshop, drawn by the glow of candlelight and the chatter within. The tailor, a wiry man with quick fingers, is holding court, A good cloak is worth its weight in gold, but a clever seam is priceless. He gestures to a mannequin draped in a half-finished garment designed with hidden pockets and cleverly placed flaps to direct water away from the wearer's legs. His apprentices listen, wide-eyed, as he explains the latest fashion. A hood that folds down into a collar when the sun finally remembers us. It's a city where form and function dance together, even when the orchestra is a chorus of dripping gutters. A particularly quirky apprentice has stitched little bells to the hem of his cloak, claiming that the sound keeps away rain spirits. You watch him twirl, the bells jingling merrily, and wonder if the only thing he's warding off is silence. Still, his cheer is infectious, and even the grumpiest customer leaves the shop with a smile. Of course, there are those who refuse to adapt. You see a philosopher, lost in thought, striding hatless and cloakless through the rain. He seems immune to discomfort, his eyes fixed on some distant idea. When asked if he minds the weather, he shrugs. The mind must be free even if the feet are wet. Florence has always celebrated its oddballs, and tonight is no exception as the rain eases. You realize that fashion in Florence is a living thing. Adaptable, creative, irreverent. The clothes may be damp, the feet may be cold, but the spirit that sews, ties, and shrugs its way through the storm is as bright as any sunbeam breaking through the clouds. You drift toward a lively square where the rain has done little to dampen the spirits of Florence's poets and wandering minstrels. Under the shelter of a stone arcade, a small crowd gathers, faces upturned, eyes bright despite the drizzle that drips from the arches above. Here, words become umbrellas, and rain is both subject and stage. A young poet, cloak spattered and curls plastered to his forehead, stands atop a shallow step, declaiming a verse to anyone who will listen. His voice rises above the patter of rain, weaving images of storms both literal and metaphorical, of longing unfulfilled, of fortunes washed away, of hope breaking through like sunlight after a storm. The listeners nod, some with genuine emotion, others with the bemused air of those who have heard it all before. Historians still argue whether Florence's poets truly shaped public sentiment with their verses or merely echoed what everyone was already thinking. But it's clear that, tonight, the city's mood is in their hands. Nearby, a troubadour strums a battered lute, singing a cheeky ballad about a tax collector who tried to levy a fee on the rain itself. The punchline, delivered with a flourish, draws laughter, and a few coins tossed into his upturned hat. It seems that, in Florence, not even the weather escapes the reach of civic satire. A merchant, pausing with his basket, jokes that the only thing more unpredictable than rain is the Signoria's latest decree. You notice another poet, older and slightly stooped, scribbling furiously into a damp notebook. He grumbles that the rain is his muse and his curse, making ink run and paper warp, but also inspiring lines as fluid as the Arno itself. He recites a snippet for you. Something about love puddling at a doorstep, waiting for courage or a ray of sun. You smile and he shrugs. Rain makes poets of us all, even if we'd rather be bakers. Quirky traditions emerge on nights like this. Some say that composing a poem in the rain brings luck, provided you share it before midnight. Others claim that any verse written on a wet scrap of parchment is cursed to be misunderstood, a superstition that probably began with frustrated lovers and poor handwriting. You watch as a group of apprentices pass around a soggy page, each adding a line, giggling at the growing absurdity. The final verse is about a cat who refuses to chase mice unless the rain falls sideways. A sentiment met with mock solemnity and much applause. Not everyone in the crowd is a fan. A stern-faced guildsman mutters that poetry doesn't sell boots, and that rain should be left to the weathervanes, not the wordsmiths. His companion winks and recites a couplet about soggy socks and empty purses, earning a round of laughter and a reluctant smile. In Florence, it seems, even the skeptics can't escape the city's poetic streak. A particularly eccentric local, dressed in a patchwork cloak, claims to predict the weather through rhyme. He addresses the crowd with a grand gesture. If the rain falls thrice before the bell of terce, tomorrow's bread will rise, but the wine will sour. The crowd cheers, tossing him bits of bread and advice about better rhymes. Historians still debate whether these street prophets ever truly influenced Florence's weather lore, or if they were simply part of the city's love affair with performance. You edge closer to a group of students, huddled beneath a shared cloak, translating lines from Virgil as rain runs down their noses. One argues that the tears of the gods in ancient poetry are nothing more than a metaphor for the city's endless drizzle. Another insists that a true Florentine can find romance in even the wettest weather, quoting Dante with a dramatic flourish. "In his will is our peace." The group bursts into laughter, the tension of the day easing with every shared line as the night deepens. The rain's music softens. The poets pack away their sodden pages, the minstrels their instruments, but the words linger in the damp air. You realize that, for medieval Florentines, rain is more than just an inconvenience or a blessing. It's a metaphor, a challenge, a backdrop for stories both grand and ridiculous. Even as you move on, the echoes of those verses follow you through the winding lanes. In Florence, poetry is as much a part of the rain as the puddles themselves, reflecting, distorting, and sometimes revealing the city's truest self. You meander through Florence's labyrinthine streets, where the interplay between architecture and weather is on full display. Rain in this city is not just a passing inconvenience. It's an adversary, a design challenge, and sometimes an unwelcome collaborator. The city's builders and architects, from humble masons to the celebrated masters behind Florence's cathedrals and palazzi, have long waged a battle with the elements. Every building, every alley, every secret courtyard carries the marks of this centuries-old contest. You pause beneath the sweeping eaves of a grand palazzo. The overhang offers a precious sliver of shelter, and you find yourself joined by a cluster of other rain dodgers. Above, the red-tiled roofs slope steeply, expertly angled to send water tumbling away from delicate stonework and toward the narrow streets below. You watch as gutters, some fashioned from lead, others from hastily patched wood, channel rain into carefully placed cisterns or, more often, straight onto the heads of unsuspecting passers-by. Historians still argue whether these features were a product of ingenious planning or simply the result of trial and error hammered out over generations of soggy Florentines. Not all innovations are so grand. You spot a shopkeeper propping a warped plank beneath his window, redirecting the flow of water away from his wares. He mutters about the curse of the corner shop, where every storm threatens a miniature flood. His neighbor, a mason, boasts of a secret recipe for lime mortar that hardens in the rain, passed down from his grandfather. You can't help but grin, suspecting that every builder in Florence claims to possess a family secret for beating the weather. A particularly quirky detail catches your eye in a nearby courtyard. Tiny, carved faces, gargoyles, jutting from the eaves, their mouths agape. Water spurts from their grimacing lips, splashing into a stone trough below. Some say the faces ward off evil spirits. Others claim they're simply a clever way to direct water away from the walls. A passing child giggles, declaring that the ugliest gargoyle keeps the rain away the best. Whether you believe in superstition or plumbing, you have to admire the creativity. You wander into the shadow of the Duomo, its massive dome looming above you. Rain glistens on the marble facade, trickling down grooves and pooling at the base of columns. The cathedral's architect, the legendary Brunelleschi, designed hidden channels within the dome to carry away rainwater. An innovation so subtle, most never notice it. You hear a local guide explain that, without these secret gutters, the dome would have crumbled beneath centuries of storms. Historians still debate whether Brunelleschi learned these tricks in Rome or invented them himself, but every drop of rain is a testament to his genius that in the poorer quarters, you spot more makeshift solutions. Tarred cloth nailed haphazardly over holes in roofs, barrels positioned to catch runoff, and windows sealed with rags. A widow pauses to readjust a loose tile, her hands practiced, her motions quick. She jokes that Florentine homes are never finished, just waiting for the next storm. The city's resilience is on display with every patch, every repair, every clever redirection of water. A group of stonecutters, sheltering together during a break, debate the merits of different building materials. One swears by sandstone, another by brick, and a third insists that nothing beats wood, if you don't mind the leaks. They tease a newcomer about his flood-proof design, which, according to legend, once floated away during a particularly bad storm. The laughter is good-natured, and you sense that, for all their complaints, the builders take pride in their city's ongoing duel with the rain. There's even a fringe theory that Florence's narrow, twisting streets were designed to channel rainwater efficiently toward the Arno. Whether by accident or design, the effect is clear. The city's roads become rushing streams during a downpour, flushing debris toward the river. Of course, this means you must leap over impromptu brooks and dodge unexpected waterfalls leaping from rooftops, a challenge that adds excitement and occasional soap stockings to every errand. You notice that the city's architecture doesn't just shield from rain, it also celebrates it. Some wealthy homes feature small, inner courtyards with drains set at their center, creating tranquil pools that reflect the sky. On rainy days, these courtyards become private worlds, the sound of water a kind of music. Children float paper boats, and grown-ups gather to gossip, safely sheltered yet always aware of the weather's presence as the rain eases and you continue your stroll. You realize that Florence's buildings are not just defenses against the storm. They are monuments to adaptation, cooperation, and a stubborn refusal to let the weather have the last word. Whether through grand domes, leering gargoyles, or a widow's well-placed tile, the city is constantly reinventing itself, one drop at a time. As you continue your journey through Florence, the rain finally begins to relent, leaving behind a city washed clean and glimmering under the fading light. You find yourself at the bustling Mercato Centrale, a vibrant hub of trade and chatter, where the aromas of fresh produce, baked goods, and aged cheeses mingle with the remnants of the storm. Here, rain is a topic of conversation, but so too are flavors, fortunes, and the ever-changing landscape of daily life. Inside the market, vendors are busy rearranging their stalls, mopping up puddles that have formed from the downpour. The air is thick with laughter and bartering, each exchange a small battle fought over the price of fresh figs or the last loaf of bread. You overhear a vendor bragging about his rain-soaked tomatoes, claiming that the best flavor comes from the storm. His neighbor rolls her eyes and counters that her produce thrives under the sun, not the clouds. Historians still argue whether such rivalries are as old as the market itself or simply a reflection of the Florentine spirit, a blend of competition and camaraderie. You wander from stall to stall, each one bursting with colors as vibrant as the city's spirit. A baker, his apron dusted with flour, laughs as he offers samples of his latest creation. Raisin bread soaked in honey. Best eaten with a cup of rainwater tea, he calls, winking at a nearby group of children who giggle at the absurdity. You can't help but join in the laughter, appreciating how, even amid the chaos of a market, the rain has fostered a sense of joy and playfulness. At another stall, a fishmonger displays his catch, glistening on crushed ice. He claims that the rain brings the best fish, pulling them from the depths with its cool embrace. Nearby, a group of women debate whether it's true that fish caught in rainwater taste sweeter than those caught in clearer skies. Their animated discussion reveals the deep connection Florentines have with their food, where every season and weather pattern influences what's on the table. You notice how the vendors adapt to the rain's whims. Large umbrellas are propped up, and wooden planks are laid down to create dry pathways for customers. You overhear a merchant explaining to a newcomer how to set up a stall that can withstand any weather. You see, it's not just about selling. It's about surviving the rain and making friends along the way, he declares, gesturing to the bustling crowd. It's a lesson you can't help but appreciate. In Florence, resilience is as essential to trade as the goods themselves. Among the stalls, you spot a particularly quirky vendor selling rain charms. Small, handcrafted trinkets made from clay and colorful beads. Each charm is said to protect against bad weather, a playful nod to the superstitions that thrive in the city. You find yourself drawn to a small, brightly painted figure of a woman holding an umbrella, and the vendor enthusiastically explains that it's meant to bring good fortune during storms. You chuckle, realizing that even in a city drenched with rain, hope persists, manifesting in the most whimsical ways. As you stroll through the market, you're struck by the spirit of community that flourishes in the face of adversity. Neighbors greet each other with warm smiles despite their damp clothes, and laughter rings out as people share stories of the day's deluge. A group of children, their hair still clinging to their foreheads, race through the stalls, splashing through puddles, their joy infectious. You can't help but smile at their antics and the resilience they embody. A particularly old woman, sitting by her stall, sells handmade pasta, her hands deftly rolling out dough. She insists that the rain helps her pasta turn out softer and more flavorful. As you chat with her, she shares stories of how generations of her family have weathered both storms and droughts, always finding a way to celebrate the simple joys of life in the market. "We are Florentines," she says with a twinkle in her eye. "We dance in the rain and sing to the sun." As the evening wears on, the market begins to wind down. Vendors wrap up their goods, exchanging friendly banter as they pack away their wares. The rain has given way to a gentle mist, and the sun peeks through the clouds, casting a golden glow over the cobblestones. You watch the last few customers drift away, arms full of produce, their laughter trailing behind them like the final notes of a song. You leave the market with a renewed sense of the city's spirit. In Florence, rain is not merely a weather pattern. It is woven into the very fabric of life, influencing trade, traditions, and relationships. As you step back into the streets, you can feel the pulse of the city, vibrant, alive, and always ready to embrace whatever the weather brings. As you step away from the bustling Mercato Central, the sun begins to break through the clouds, casting a warm, golden light across the damp streets of Florence. The rain has left the city glistening, and the scent of wet earth mingles with the aroma of baked bread and freshly cut herbs. You find yourself in a neighborhood where the cobblestones still glisten, and the air is filled with the sound of water dripping from awnings and balconies. You wander into a narrow lane lined with artisans' workshops, each one alive with the hum of creativity. Here, the rain has not dampened spirits but instead inspired a flurry of activity. You pause outside a blacksmith's forge, where the rhythmic clang of hammer on anvil echoes through the alley. The blacksmith, a burly man with soot-streaked arms, is shaping a piece of metal into a decorative bracket, each strike punctuated by a splash of water as he quenches the heated iron in a bucket nearby. "Rain makes the best metal," he grins, wiping his brow. "Keeps the fire hot and the iron strong." You smile at his enthusiasm. It's infectious. Nearby, you overhear a conversation between two carpenters discussing the merits of different wood types for rainy weather. Cypress holds up best against the damp, one insists, while the other counters with a passionate defense of oak. Their friendly debate is as lively as any you've encountered, a testament to the camaraderie that flourishes among craftsmen. You continue down the street, where the sound of laughter draws your attention to a group of potters gathered around a wheel, their hands caked in clay. They're experimenting with new designs, creating bowls and vases that reflect the swirling patterns of the rain outside. A particularly whimsical potter showcases a bowl adorned with tiny raindrop motifs, declaring it the perfect vessel for collecting the tears of the sky. The group erupts in laughter, and you can't help but admire their ability to find joy in the rainy day's challenges. In another workshop, a seamstress carefully stitches a waterproof cloak, her fingers deftly working the fabric into a stylish design. She explains that, in her opinion, the rain is the best time to focus on new creations. Fewer customers mean more time for experimentation. "Every storm brings inspiration," she says, holding up the cloak for you to admire. "And it's only a matter of time before we have a parade of fashion that celebrates our rainy days." You notice that each artisan embodies the spirit of Florence, a blend of resilience, humor, and creativity that transforms adversity into opportunity. As you wander from workshop to workshop, you hear snippets of conversation about the rain's impact on their craft. A leatherworker shares tales of how the rain has inspired him to create waterproof bags, while a sculptor talks about how the wet weather has changed his techniques, encouraging him to embrace softer forms that evoke the flow of water. Quirky legends about rain also abound among the artisans. One potter claims that the best clay is harvested just after a rain, as the earth cools and softens. Another insists that singing to the rain while working leads to more beautiful pieces, and soon the group bursts into a round of cheerful tunes, their voices blending with the sound of dripping water. You find yourself caught up in the camaraderie, the laughter echoing through the lane like a joyous counterpoint to the day's earlier challenges. As the sun rises higher in the sky, you feel the warmth seep into your bones, and the mood in the street shifts. The rain becomes a memory, a shared experience that has drawn the community closer together. The artisans begin to head out into the street, eager to showcase their wares to passers-by, determined to make the most of the sunny break. You notice a group of children playing nearby, splashing in the puddles left behind by the rain, their laughter ringing out like music. They chase each other, leaping from one puddle to another as if they are jumping between worlds. A few of them take turns pretending to be artisans, crafting invisible wares and announcing their prices with exaggerated flair. 1 gold coin for a rain charm, 2 for a cloak that never gets wet. Their innocence and creativity remind you that, in Florence, every drop of rain is a chance for play and imagination. As you step further down the lane, you find a small cafe with outdoor seating, its tables adorned with bright flowers. The owner, a jovial woman with flour-dusted hands, waves you over and offers you a slice of her famous rain cake, a dessert made with the finest ingredients, said to be inspired by the flavors of spring rains. You savor each bite, the moist cake rich with citrus and spice, and feel grateful for the unexpected delights that the rain has brought. You realize that in Florence, the rain has a way of weaving its way into every aspect of life, from art to commerce, from laughter to resilience. Each artisan you've met has transformed the storm into a source of inspiration, proving that, even on the wettest days, there is beauty to be found. As you sip your coffee, watching the world bustle around you, you feel a sense of connection to this city, where every drop of rain tells a story and every artisan is a part of its rich tapestry. With the sun now shining brightly and the streets of Florence beginning to dry, you set out to explore the city's gardens and squares, where the remnants of rain have left everything lush and vibrant. The air is infused with the scent of wet earth and blooming flowers, a fragrant reminder of the storm that just passed. It's a perfect day to observe how Florentines embrace the rain's aftermath, celebrating the beauty of nature and their city. You stroll into the Giardino di Boboli, an expansive garden that once served as a retreat for the Medici family. The paths are lined with cypress trees, their verdant colors enhanced by the rain, and the sound of trickling water fills the air from the fountains and ponds scattered throughout the grounds. You can hear laughter drifting from a nearby group of children who are splashing through puddles, their delight infectious as they discover tiny frogs hopping in the wet grass. In one corner of the garden, you come across a group of locals gathered around a fountain, which has been rejuvenated by the rain. A woman stands before them, reciting poetry about the beauty of nature in the wake of the storm. Her words flow like the water cascading from the fountain, and you can see the audience transfixed, each listener transported to a world where rain is not just an inconvenience but a source of life and inspiration. Historians still debate whether poetry about nature truly resonates more during times of renewal or if it simply echoes the sentiments of the moment. Nearby, a gardener is meticulously pruning roses, his hands deftly working to remove the damaged blooms left behind by the rain. He pauses to chat with passers-by, sharing his belief that the rain brings out the best in his plants. They flourish after a storm, he insists, wiping his brow. Just like us Florentines. You nod, appreciating the metaphor, how the rain acts as both a trial and a blessing, a reminder that growth often comes through challenge. In a sunny clearing, an elderly couple sits on a bench, reminiscing about the storms of their youth. They share tales of floods that reshaped the city and the resilience of their neighbors who came together to rebuild. The woman laughs, recalling how they used to sail boats made of leaves in the streets during heavy rains, their innocent joy a stark contrast to the chaos around them. It's a charming reminder that within every storm lies an opportunity for community and connection. As you wander deeper into the gardens, you come across an artist sketching the landscape, capturing the vibrant colors of the flowers and the way the sunlight dances on the leaves after the rain. He glances up at you and grins, explaining how the rain has brought out the brilliance of the colors in the garden. Every storm washes away the dust, he says, revealing the beauty beneath. His insight resonates with you, and you can't help but marvel at how the rain has transformed not just the landscape, but the very atmosphere of the city. A quirky local tradition catches your attention as you observe a small group of people gathering around a massive oak tree. They are tying colorful ribbons to its branches, each ribbon representing a wish or a prayer for the coming season. You learn that this practice, known as the ribbons of rain, symbolizes hope and renewal, a way to honor the rain's role in nurturing life. Each person takes a moment to whisper their wish before tying the ribbon, and you feel the weight of their desires and dreams hanging in the air, mingling with the scent of fresh blossoms as you leave the garden. You notice that the streets have become a canvas for artistic expression. Street performers take advantage of the warm weather, entertaining passersby with songs, dances, and acrobatics. One juggler, his clothes still slightly damp, has incorporated elements of the rain into his act, tossing water-filled balls into the air with playful abandon. The crowd cheers, and you can't help but join in, swept away by the infectious energy of the moment. On your way back to the heart of the city, you pass by a small cafe. The owner stands outside, inviting patrons to enjoy a cup of coffee and a pastry while basking in the sunshine. He jokes that the rain is simply the sky's way of brewing the best coffee. You smile, appreciating how even the most mundane activities take on a new light after a rainstorm. As you sit down to enjoy a warm pastry, you reflect on how Florence has a unique way of turning rain into a celebration, an excuse for community, creativity, and connection. The city thrives on the interplay between its people and the elements, and you can feel the pulse of life coursing through every street and square. You realize that the rain, rather than being a hindrance, has become a vital part of Florence's identity. Each drop is a reminder of resilience, artistry, and the indomitable spirit of a city that knows how to dance in the rain and sing to the sun. As you finish your pastry and sip the last of your coffee, you feel a renewed sense of energy. The sun shines brightly now, casting playful shadows across the cobblestones, and you set off once more to explore the heart of Florence. The city feels alive, infused with the vibrancy that follows a rainstorm. Florentines bustle about, their spirits lifted, ready to embrace whatever the day may bring. You make your way to Piazza della Signoria, where the iconic Palazzo Vecchio stands tall and proud. The square is lively with tourists and locals alike, all drawn together in the warmth of the sun. You can hear snippets of conversation as people recount their own stories of the rain, each tale echoing the theme of resilience and renewal. This square, with its historic significance, serves as a reminder of Florence's enduring spirit, its ability to weather any storm. Both figuratively and literally, in the center of the piazza, a street artist has set up an easel, painting a vivid scene of the square just as the rain began to fall. You watch as he captures the play of light on damp stone, the reflections of the statues, and the vibrant colors of the flowers in the nearby gardens. His brush strokes are bold and fluid, echoing the very movement of the rain. You can't help but admire his ability to transform the chaos of weather into something beautiful and inspiring. Nearby, a group of young men are engaged in a spirited game of chess, their pieces crafted from wood and painted in bright colors. They debate strategies animatedly, punctuating their comments with laughter and playful banter. The rain, they decide, has added a layer of unpredictability to their game, much like life itself. One player, with a mischievous grin, declares that the best moves are those made when the weather is uncertain, echoing a sentiment that resonates throughout the city. You decide to join the chess game, your competitive spirit ignited. As you take a seat and wait for your turn, you hear snippets of conversations from those around you. A pair of friends reminisce about how their families used to gather during storms, sharing stories and laughter while the rain pattered against the roof. Their tales remind you that the rain is not just an inconvenience but a catalyst for connection and community. As you delve deeper into the stories shared among the players, you learn more about the old traditions of Florence. One of the players mentions that during particularly heavy rains, families would gather at home to play games, share meals, and recount tales of their ancestors. Rain is a time for reflection, he says, a chance to slow down and appreciate what we have. His words resonate with you, reminding you that even in the hustle and bustle of city life, moments of pause can be profound. A quirky debate arises over whether the rain has a personality of its own. One player argues that it can be mischievous, playing tricks on those who venture out unprepared. Another counters that it's more like a nurturing mother, harsh at times but ultimately protective, ensuring that life flourishes in the city. The debate grows animated, laughter ringing out as they playfully argue their points. You find yourself caught up in their energy, realizing that it's this very spirit that defines Florence. A place where even the rain can inspire joy as the game unfolds. You catch sight of a nearby fountain, its water still glistening from the rain. You wander over to admire the intricate sculptures that surround it, each one telling a story of Florentine history. The water cascades down, creating a soothing sound that blends with the laughter and chatter of the crowd. You realize that in Florence, even the public spaces are imbued with artistry and life. You pull your attention back to the game just in time to make your move. As the pieces click against the wooden board, you feel a sense of camaraderie building among the players. The rain may have brought them together initially, but it's the shared experience of the game and the stories that weave a stronger bond. You win a few games, but each victory feels secondary to the laughter and connection you shared as the sun begins to dip lower in the sky. Casting a warm glow over the piazza, you notice that the atmosphere has shifted. The rain has become a distant memory, replaced by the promise of a beautiful evening. The chess players finish their games, and you all stand to shake hands, exchanging warm smiles and promises to meet again. You leave Piazza della Signoria with a heart full of joy and a mind buzzing with the stories of the day. The rain has woven its way through every experience, shaping not just the weather but the very essence of the city. Florence, with its resilience and creativity, feels more alive than ever, a testament to the enduring spirit of its people. As you stroll back through the streets, you realize that the rain has given you more than just a collection of memories. It has reminded you of the beauty that can be found in every storm, the connections that can blossom even in the wettest of moments, and the way a city can embrace its challenges with humor and grace. Feeling the warmth of the sun on your skin, you decide to take a leisurely stroll along the banks of the Arno. The river, which had swelled with rain just hours before, now flows steadily, its surface shimmering in the light. You can see reflections of the colorful buildings that line the waterfront, their hues brightened by the recent storm. The atmosphere is transformed, and the city feels as if it has awakened from a refreshing slumber. You find a quiet spot along the riverbank and take a moment to sit on a weathered stone bench, watching the world go by. Couples stroll hand in hand, their laughter mingling with the distant sound of musicians playing on the opposite shore. A group of children skips stones across the water, their joyful shouts punctuating the warm air. With each splash, you feel a sense of nostalgia, remembering the simple pleasures that rain often brings. Puddles to jump in, stones to throw, and laughter shared as you sit there. You start to notice how the rain has left its mark on the city's rhythm. Florentines, now free from the dampness, seem to have emerged with a renewed energy. They greet each other with smiles, and conversations flow more freely. You overhear snippets of plans for the evening, a gathering at a friend's home, an impromptu concert in the square, and a few who are already contemplating the next market day. The rain, it seems, has not only washed the streets but also cleared the air, inviting connection and celebration. You decide to join the flow of life along the river, walking toward the iconic Ponte Vecchio, its arches standing strong against the current. As you cross the bridge, you admire the rows of shops that cling to its sides, their windows sparkling with jewelry and crafts. The rain has given the stones a fresh sheen, and you pause to listen to a nearby vendor enthusiastically explaining the history of the bridge to a group of curious tourists. Across the bridge, you spot a small gathering of artists showcasing their work. They have set up easels along the walkway, displaying vibrant paintings inspired by the very landscapes you've just walked through. One artist, a young woman with paint-smeared hands, explains how the rain influenced her palette. The colors of Florence are richer after a storm, she says, gesturing to her canvas filled with deep greens and brilliant blues. It's like the city breathes in the rain and exhales beauty. You can't help but be drawn to her enthusiasm. You strike up a conversation, and she shares stories of how the rain has transformed her artistic process over the years. Each drop is a reminder that creativity flows best when we embrace the unexpected. She muses, her eyes sparkling with passion. You nod in agreement, feeling inspired by her perspective on how rain can be a wellspring for creativity rather than a hindrance. The atmosphere is infectious, and you find yourself captivated by the art around you. You wander from one artist to another, each one sharing their unique interpretations of the city. The stone facades, the bustling markets, the serene riverbanks, all refracted through the lens of their recent encounters with rain. You marvel at how the storm has shaped not just the landscape, but also the hearts and minds of those who call Florence home. As you continue your exploration, you come across a small group of musicians playing lively folk tunes. Their melodies dance through the air, drawing an audience of passers-by. A couple begins to twirl, their movements fluid and joyful, as if the music itself is an extension of the rain's playful spirit. You can see others beginning to sway and clap, the energy infectious, transforming the bridge into a spontaneous celebration of life. You find a spot to join the crowd and let the music wash over you. The musicians play on, their tunes weaving through the air like the currents of the Arno below. People smile, dance, and sing along, a collective expression of joy that transcends the trials of the day. You realize that this moment is a reflection of Florence's resilience, a city that, despite the rain, persists in finding joy and connection as the sun begins to set, casting a golden hue over the river. You notice the sky changing colors, shifting from blue to shades of pink and orange. The scene is breathtaking, and you feel a sense of peace wash over you. This beauty, so often overlooked in the rush of daily life, is a gift of the rain that has now become mere memory. With the music still echoing in your heart, you decide to linger a little longer, soaking in the atmosphere, the warmth of the sun, and the laughter of the people around you. The rain may have come and gone, but its impact lingers, infusing life into the city, inspiring creativity, and bringing people together. In that moment, you understand that Florence is not defined by its weather, but rather by the spirit of its people. Their ability to adapt, to celebrate, and to find beauty in every storm that passes overhead. As you watch the last rays of sunlight dance on the water, you feel a deep sense of gratitude for the rain that has shaped your journey and for the vibrant city that continues to thrive in its wake. As the sun dips below the horizon, casting a warm glow over the Arno, you eventually tear yourself away from the lively scene on the Ponte Vecchio. The evening air is crisp, and the remnants of rain linger in the atmosphere, filling your lungs with a refreshing scent that evokes memories of the day. You make your way through the streets of Florence, now alive with the soft glow of lanterns and the hum of conversation spilling from cafes and trattorias. You decide to explore the Altrarno district, a neighborhood known for its artisan workshops and more intimate atmosphere. The streets here are narrower, lined with charming buildings whose walls are adorned with creeping vines and colorful flowers. The rain has washed away the dust of the day, revealing the vibrant colors of the city's architecture. You can't help but admire how the landscape is transformed, as if Florence has donned its finest attire for the evening. As you wander, the sounds of laughter and clinking glasses draw you to a small trattoria. You peer inside and see a group of friends gathered around a table, plates piled high with steaming pasta and glasses filled with ruby red wine. They seem to be celebrating, perhaps toasting to the end of a rainy day. The atmosphere is warm and inviting, and your stomach rumbles in response to the tantalizing smells wafting through the door. Curiosity piqued, you step inside, greeted by the cozy ambience and the rich aroma of garlic and herbs. The owner, a jovial man with a thick mustache, welcomes you with open arms, inviting you to join the festivities. "Tonight, we celebrate the rain," he declares, his voice booming. "It brings us life and flavor, and we feast in its honor." The patrons cheer and raise their glasses, and you feel a sense of belonging wash over you. You settle at the bar, where a plate of fresh bruschetta is placed in front of you almost instantly. You savor the flavors, the roasted tomatoes, fragrant basil, and a drizzle of olive oil, each bite a reminder of the rich culinary heritage that Florence offers. As you enjoy your meal, you listen to the conversations around you, filled with laughter and passionate debates about the best pasta sauce, the merits of local wines, and, of course, the rain. A particularly lively pair of women seated nearby are recounting their adventures during the storm, exaggerating their tales for comic effect. One claims she bravely saved her neighbor's goat from the rushing waters, while the other insists that she performed an impromptu rain dance to appease the skies. Their animated storytelling draws in the entire restaurant, everyone laughing together as they share their own experiences of the day. It's a beautiful reminder of how rain can bring people together, creating bonds over shared moments of challenge and hilarity. You hear snippets of conversations that reflect the Florentine spirit. The rain may soak our clothes, but it cannot dampen our spirits, one patron declares, raising a glass to the crowd. You can see the truth in his words here, amidst the warmth of good food and companionship. The rain is embraced as a part of life, not a deterrent. As the evening continues, the owner announces a special dish, pasta al limone, a creamy lemon pasta that is said to embody the freshness of the rain. You can't resist ordering it, and when it arrives, you're delighted by the bright flavors that dance on your palate. The dish is as comforting as it is invigorating, a fitting tribute to the day's transformation. As you eat, you strike up a conversation with a couple seated next to you. They share their own tales of living in Florence, how they've learned to embrace the unpredictability of the weather, and how each storm brings new stories to tell. They recount fond memories of rainy evenings spent huddled together in cafes, sipping hot chocolate and watching the world go by. It's in those moments that you truly connect with the city, the woman says, her eyes sparkling with nostalgia. With each story shared, you feel a deeper connection to Florence, a city that thrives on its weather, transforming challenges into opportunities for laughter, connection, and creativity. You realize that the rain, rather than being a nuisance, has become a catalyst for community, shaping not just the landscape but also the hearts of its inhabitants as the night wears on. The trattoria fills with the sounds of music, laughter, and the clinking of glasses. The atmosphere is electric, a celebration of life in all its forms. You find yourself swept up in the joy of the moment, the rain now a distant memory, replaced by the warmth of friendship and shared stories. When you finally leave the trattoria, the streets are illuminated by soft lantern light, the night air cool and refreshing. You stroll through the winding lanes of Florence, feeling grateful for the day's adventures. The rain has washed the city anew, and you can sense its heartbeat echoing through the cobblestones, reminding you that every storm brings a chance for renewal. As you make your way back to your temporary home, you can't help but reflect on how the rain has shaped your experience in Florence. It has brought people together, inspired artistry, and infused the city with a spirit of resilience and creativity. In this city, rain is not just weather. It is a part of life's tapestry, woven into the very fabric of what it means to be Florentine. As you stroll through the now familiar streets of Florence, the night air feels alive, buzzing with possibility. The gentle glow of street lamps illuminates the cobblestones, casting playful shadows that dance in tandem with the whispers of the evening breeze. You can hear the distant notes of a lute being played somewhere, accompanied by the soft murmur of voices spilling from open windows, each sound a reminder that life continues to pulse through the city even as night falls. You decide to make your way toward the Basilica di Santa Croce, a grand structure that houses the tombs of some of Florence's most illustrious figures. The church, often quieter at night, holds a special allure under the soft glow of the moon. As you approach, you notice the way the rain has made the facade gleam. The stonework is rich with texture, every groove and relief enhanced by the recent downpour. It's a beautiful sight, and you take a moment to appreciate the craftsmanship that has stood the test of time and weather. Entering the basilica, you are greeted by the cool, contemplative air of the interior. The quiet is soothing, a stark contrast to the lively streets outside. You wander slowly, taking in the exquisite artwork and the soft flickering of candlelight. The rain has brought a stillness that allows you to reflect on your own journey through Florence, a journey shaped by the city's relationship with its weather and its people. You find yourself drawn to the tomb of Michelangelo, the great artist whose genius has left an indelible mark on the city. As you stand before it, you can't help but think of how rain has played a role in the history of art, how it has inspired countless creations, from paintings to sculptures, as artists capture the beauty of the world around them. You can almost hear the echoes of his thoughts, contemplating the storms that have shaped not just the landscape, but the very essence of creativity. Nearby, you notice a small group of visitors huddled together, sharing stories about their own experiences in Florence. They recount tales of unexpected rain, of getting caught in downpours while exploring the Uffizi Gallery or searching for the perfect gelato. Their laughter is infectious, and you find yourself smiling as their joy resonates within the sacred space. As you move deeper into the basilica, you stumble upon a small chapel dedicated to Saint Francis. The simple beauty of the space draws you in, and you take a moment to sit in silence, allowing the tranquility to wash over you. Here, amidst the artwork and the prayers, you reflect on the bond between nature and spirituality, how rain can cleanse and renew, both outside and within. You feel a sense of gratitude for the rain that has shaped your experience in Florence, the rain that has brought people together, inspired artists, and turned the mundane into the extraordinary. It's a reminder that even life's storms can yield beauty and connection, a lesson that seems to echo in the quiet of the chapel. After a while, you decide to leave the basilica, stepping back into the vibrant streets. The night air is now filled with laughter, music, and the scent of food wafting from nearby trattorias. You follow the sounds, drawn to the heart of the city, where the celebrations of the evening are in full swing. You notice that the rain has left the streets slick and reflective, turning the ordinary into something magical. In the piazza, you find an open-air concert underway. A band plays lively folk music, and couples dance in joyous abandon, their movements fluid and carefree. The energy is palpable, and you can't help but join in, swept away by the rhythm of the night. The rain, which once felt like an obstacle, has now transformed into a backdrop for celebration. A reminder that life is to be embraced. Come what may, as you dance and laugh with strangers who quickly become friends, you realize that Florence, with its unique relationship to rain, has taught you something fundamental about resilience and joy. The city thrives on its ability to adapt, to celebrate the unexpected, and to find beauty in every moment. Rainy or sunny as the evening progresses, you find yourself sitting on a bench, sharing stories with newfound friends. You recount your adventures through the rain-soaked streets, the charming encounters with artists, the warmth of the trattoria, and the moments of connection that have defined your experience. They share their own tales, and together you laugh at the absurdity of being caught in a downpour. The friendships that formed in the wettest of moments, with the night deepening, the music swells and the crowd grows, and you feel a sense of belonging wash over you. It's a beautiful reminder that, in Florence, rain is not merely a weather pattern. It is a catalyst for connection, creativity, and joy. You can see it in the smiles of those around you, hear it in the melodies that fill the air, and feel it in the warmth of companionship that envelopes you as the concert winds down and the crowd begins to disperse. You take a moment to soak in the atmosphere, grateful for the rain that has woven its way through your journey. Florence has shown you that every drop of rain carries the potential for growth, for laughter, and for unforgettable memories. And as you walk away from the piazza, you know that the spirit of the city will stay with you, a lasting reminder of the beauty found in both the sunshine and the storms. As the last notes of the concert fade into the night, you follow the winding streets back toward the heart of Florence, your heart light and full of warmth from the evening's celebrations. The rain has left a fresh scent in the air, mingling with the aromas of dinner wafting from nearby restaurants, and you can't help but feel a sense of contentment. The city feels alive, its pulse quickening with every step you take. You decide to make your way to the bustling Piazza della Repubblica, a hub of activity that captures the essence of Florence. As you enter the square, you're greeted by the sight of the carousel, its colorful lights twinkling in the twilight. Children laugh and squeal with delight as they ride the painted horses, their joy infectious. You can't resist the urge to stop and watch for a moment, captivated by the scene before you. A perfect blend of nostalgia and magic. Nearby, a group of street performers has gathered, entertaining the crowd with their antics. One juggler tosses brightly colored balls into the air, while a mime acts out a comical scene of slipping on a puddle, drawing laughter from the onlookers. The atmosphere is electric, filled with the sounds of laughter and applause, blending seamlessly with the echoes of the day's rain. It's as if the city has transformed its struggles into a celebration of life, and you feel grateful to be part of it. You wander over to a cafe that spills out onto the square, its outdoor seating inviting you to join the festivities. The owner, a cheerful woman with a welcoming smile, offers you a warm pastry and a steaming cup of coffee. As you settle into a cozy chair, you take a moment to appreciate the energy around you. The rain has cleared the air, and the square is alive with conversations, laughter, and the clinking of glasses. You realize that even as the storm clouds gather, the spirit of Florence shines through as you sip your coffee. You strike up a conversation with a couple sitting at the next table. They share their own experiences of the rain, recounting how it brought them together during a chance encounter in the market. Their stories echo the themes you've heard throughout your journey: the rain as a unifying force, a catalyst for connection and community. You can feel the warmth of their friendship, and it reinforces your understanding that in this city, rain is simply part of the fabric of life. You glance around the square, taking in the sights and sounds. A street musician strums a lively tune on his guitar, drawing a small crowd. You find yourself tapping your foot to the rhythm, allowing the music to wash over you. It's a beautiful reminder that, despite the weather's unpredictability, Florence remains a city of celebration, creativity, and resilience. As the evening deepens, you watch as the square transforms. The lights from the cafes and shops sparkle against the backdrop of the night sky, and the atmosphere buzzes with life. Couples stroll hand in hand, families gather around the carousel, and friends share stories and laughter over glasses of wine. It's a scene that encapsulates the essence of Florence, a place that thrives on connection, no matter the weather. You reflect on how the rain has shaped your experience in this remarkable city. It has brought you into the hearts and homes of its people, fostering connections that transcend the challenges of the day. You feel a sense of belonging, as if you are now part of this vibrant tapestry that weaves together the stories of countless individuals. As you finish your pastry and coffee, you realize that your journey through Florence has taught you to embrace the unexpected, to find beauty in every moment, and to appreciate the connections that arise even in the most challenging circumstances. The rain, once a source of worry, has become a symbol of renewal and hope, a reminder that life continues to flourish despite the storms that may come. With a heart full of gratitude, you rise from your seat and join the throng of people enjoying the lively atmosphere of the square. The rain has passed, but its impact lingers, fueling the excitement of the evening and inspiring a sense of community that feels palpable. You're ready to embrace whatever adventures await you next in this enchanting city, knowing that Florence will always hold a special place in your heart. You drift through the square, smiling at the people around you, feeling the warmth of their shared joy. You know that Florence, with its rain-soaked streets and vibrant spirit, has become a part of you. A city that teaches the art of resilience and the beauty of connection, come rain or shine. With the energy of the evening still buzzing around you, you decide to explore Florence's historic streets a bit more, your feet guiding you toward the famous Uffizi Gallery. The gallery, renowned for its breathtaking art collection, stands as a testament to the city's rich cultural heritage, and you can't help but feel a thrill of anticipation. The rain has made the air cooler, and the streets are alive with people, each sharing their own stories of the day. As you approach the Uffizi, you notice that the lines for entry are shorter, likely due to the earlier rain deterring some visitors. You slip inside, grateful to be welcomed by the cool, hushed atmosphere of the art-filled halls. The gallery is an oasis of creativity, and as you wander through the galleries, you feel as if you are stepping into another world, a world filled with beauty, history, and inspiration. You pause before Botticelli's The Birth of Venus, mesmerized by its ethereal beauty. The vibrant colors and flowing lines seem to dance before your eyes, a testament to the artist's genius. You can almost hear the whispers of the past, the stories of love and longing that inspired the painting. In this moment, you realize that the rain has not only shaped your experiences outside the gallery, but has also heightened your appreciation for the art inside. As you move from room to room, you find yourself captivated by the different interpretations of nature, each piece reflecting the relationship between artists and the elements. In a landscape painting, you can almost feel the breeze rustling the leaves, and in a stormy seascape, the crashing waves seem to echo the very rain that has just swept through the city. It's a reminder that, throughout history, artists have drawn inspiration from the world around them, capturing moments of beauty and emotion in their work. You encounter a group of tourists discussing the significance of light in Renaissance art. One enthusiastically points out how the depiction of sunlight breaking through clouds can evoke feelings of hope and renewal. Just like the rain, another chimes in, it reminds us that life is a cycle. Sometimes we must endure the storms to appreciate the sunshine. Their conversation resonates with you, and you find yourself reflecting on your own experiences in Florence. The rain, the connections, the joy. You take a moment to step outside onto the gallery's terrace, where the view of the Arno and the Ponte Vecchio is nothing short of breathtaking. The sun has now fully emerged from behind the clouds, painting the city in golden hues. You can see the reflections of the historic buildings shimmering in the river, and you take a deep breath, inhaling the fresh scent of the earth after the rain. It's a moment of peace amidst the bustling city, a reminder of the beauty that surrounds you as you admire the view. You overhear a couple nearby discussing their favorite artworks. They speak of how art captures the essence of life, much like the rain captures the essence of a city. Their words echo in your mind, and you can't help but think about how the rain has transformed your own journey through Florence, shaping not just the landscape, but your understanding of connection, resilience, and creativity. After soaking in the scenery, you return to the gallery, eager to explore more of its treasures. You navigate the rooms, allowing the art to wash over you like the gentle rain that has become a part of your experience. Each piece tells a story, and you find yourself lost in the narratives woven through the brushstrokes, the colors, and the emotions captured on canvas as you exit the gallery. The sun is now setting, casting a warm glow over the city. The streets are alive with activity, the air buzzing with laughter and conversation. You decide to wander toward the nearby Piazza della Signoria once more, eager to see how the evening unfolds. The square is bustling, filled with locals and tourists alike, all drawn together by the enchantment of Florence. You find a spot on a bench, taking a moment to absorb the scene around you. The statues that stand guard over the piazza seem to come alive in the golden light, and you can see the way the rain has made the stone glisten, enhancing their majesty. You watch as a street performer entertains a group of children, their laughter a joyful soundtrack to the evening. Nearby, a couple dances to the music of a small band, their movements fluid and carefree. You're struck by the beauty of the moment, a celebration of life, love, and the magic of a city that embraces both sunshine and rain. It's a reminder that even in the face of uncertainty, there's always something to celebrate. As you sit in the square, surrounded by the warmth of Florence, you reflect on how the rain has shaped your experience. It has brought you into the hearts of its people, inspired creativity, and fostered connections that transcend the challenges of the day. You realize that Florence, with its vibrant spirit and rich history, has become a part of you. A city that dances in the rain and sings to the sun. With a smile, you rise from the bench, ready to join in the revelry that fills the piazza. You feel a sense of belonging and gratitude for the journey that has led you to this moment. The rain may have come and gone, but its impact lingers, reminding you of the beauty found in every storm and the joy that comes from embracing life in all its forms. You join the throng of people in Piazza della Signoria, your heart lifted by the vibrant atmosphere. The music swells around you, and the infectious energy of the crowd pulls you into its embrace. Dancers twirl and sway, their movements reflecting the joy that fills the air. You feel as if you've stepped into a living painting, a canvas of laughter, music, and celebration. As you navigate through the crowd, you bump into a familiar face, the young poet from the market earlier in the day. His eyes light up as he recognizes you, and he greets you with a wide grin. Ah, a fellow lover of rain and revelry. Come, let us celebrate the beauty of this evening. He gestures toward the makeshift stage where musicians play lively tunes, and you can't help but smile at his enthusiasm. He leads you to a group of his friends, fellow poets and artists who share a passion for capturing the essence of Florence through their work. They gather around a low table laden with wine and snacks, their laughter mingling with the music echoing in the square. You feel a sense of kinship as you join their circle, sharing stories of the day's adventures and the rain that brought you all together. One poet, a spirited young woman with wild curls, begins reciting verses inspired by the rain. Her words flow like the water itself, painting vivid images of droplets cascading from rooftops and the laughter of children splashing in puddles. The group listens intently, their smiles widening as she brings the storm to life through her poetry. You can see how the rain has ignited their creativity, transforming a simple meteorological event into a source of inspiration and connection. As the evening progresses, the conversation shifts to the nature of art and how it reflects the human experience. The group discusses the ways in which rain has influenced their work, each sharing their thoughts on how it can evoke emotions, spark creativity, and serve as a metaphor for life's challenges. Every drop, the young poet insists, is a reminder that even the heaviest storms can lead to growth and beauty. You share your own reflections, recounting how the rain has shaped your journey through Florence. The group nods in understanding, and you feel a sense of belonging among these kindred spirits. It's as if the rain has created a bond that transcends individual experiences, weaving together the stories of everyone present. Feeling inspired, you decide to join in the poetic exchange. You share a few lines you've crafted, drawing on the imagery of rain and its ability to bring people together. The group listens intently, offering encouragement and applause as you speak. Their enthusiasm fuels your confidence, and you find yourself swept up in the magic of the moment as the night deepens. The music shifts to a slower tempo, and the atmosphere becomes more intimate. The group transitions from lively discussions to sharing quieter moments of reflection. A few poets pull out their notebooks, jotting down ideas sparked by the evening's conversations. You take a moment to watch the interplay of light and shadow in the square, the flickering lanterns casting a warm glow on the faces of your new friends. In this moment of stillness, you realize how deeply the rain has influenced not just your own journey, but the collective experience of those around you. It has created a tapestry of stories, laughter, and creativity, reminding everyone that beauty can emerge even from the most unexpected circumstances. As the clock strikes the hour, the crowd begins to disperse, and you feel a pang of reluctance to leave this magical gathering. The young poet raises his glass in a toast to friendship and creativity, and the group echoes his sentiments, their voices rising in unison. To rain, to art, and to Florence. The cheers fill the air, and you know that this moment will remain etched in your memory. Eventually, you bid farewell to your new friends, promising to meet again for more poetry and laughter. As you weave your way through the quieter streets, you reflect on the night's events, feeling a profound sense of gratitude for the connections you've made. Florence, with its rain and resilience, has opened your heart to new experiences and friendships, each one a testament to the city's enduring spirit. You take a slow stroll back toward your lodgings, the night air cool against your skin. The warmth of the evening lingers with you, a reminder that even the rain brings people together in ways you might never have imagined. You find solace in knowing that Florence is a city that embraces both its storms and its sunshine, celebrating life in all its forms. As you approach your destination, you pause for a moment to gaze up at the stars twinkling above. The rain has passed, but its legacy remains, woven into the fabric of the city, captured in the hearts of its people, and reflected in the beauty that surrounds you. You feel a deep sense of belonging, knowing that your journey through Florence is far from over and that more adventures await, rain or shine. The following morning, you awaken to the soft light of dawn filtering through your window, the remnants of last night's festivities still fresh in your mind. You stretch, taking a moment to appreciate the stillness of the morning air. The rain has left the world sparkling, and the city seems to be waking with a renewed sense of purpose. You can hear the distant sound of birds chirping, their melodies bright against the backdrop of a clear sky. Feeling invigorated, you decide to head out for an early walk through Florence. As you step outside, you are greeted by the crispness of the morning air, a refreshing reminder that the rain has washed away both dust and worries. The streets are quiet, with only a few early risers preparing for the day ahead. You stroll through the cobblestone streets, taking in the beauty of the city now that it has dried out. You find yourself drawn to the quieter neighborhoods, where the charm of Florence unfolds with every step. The The sun casts long shadows, illuminating the intricate details of the architecture that line the streets. You pause to admire the facades, their colors enhanced by the rain, each building telling a story of resilience and history. It's in these moments that you truly appreciate how the rain has transformed the city, how it has brought forth a vibrancy that seems to pulse with life as you wander. You come across a small bakery, the inviting aroma of freshly baked bread wafting through the door. Unable to resist, you step inside, greeted by the warm, cozy atmosphere. The baker, an older gentleman with a flour-dusted apron, smiles as he kneads dough behind the counter. "Ah, the rain is good for the bread," he says, his eyes twinkling. "It makes it rise with character." You chuckle, appreciating his enthusiasm for his craft. You order a warm pastry and a cup of coffee, settling at a small table by the window. As you take your first bite, the flaky pastry melts in your mouth, and you savor the rich flavors. You watch as locals begin to filter in, exchanging greetings and news of the day. The bakery buzzes with a sense of community, a reminder that even in a city filled with visitors, the warmth of familiarity prevails. After finishing your breakfast, you set out again, your mind buzzing with ideas and inspiration from the morning's interactions. With the sun high in the sky, you decide to visit the Accademia Gallery, home to Michelangelo's David. You've heard that the artwork is even more breathtaking in the morning light, and you're eager to experience it for yourself as you walk through the streets. You find the atmosphere transformed. The earlier tranquility has given way to the hustle and bustle of daily life in Florence. Street vendors have set up their stalls, selling everything from vibrant flowers to handmade crafts. You stop to admire a collection of intricate leather goods, each piece a testament to the craftsmanship that defines the city. When you arrive at the Accademia, you notice that the lines are shorter than usual, likely due to the early hour. You purchase your ticket and step inside, feeling a rush of anticipation. The gallery is quieter than the bustling streets outside, allowing you to focus on the art that surrounds you. As you enter the room housing Michelangelo's David, you are struck by the sheer size and beauty of the statue. The light streaming through the windows casts a soft glow on the marble, bringing out the intricate details of the figure. You can't help but feel a sense of awe as you stand before the masterpiece, realizing that it embodies the very essence of Florence: strength, beauty, and a deep connection to the human experience. You take your time, wandering around the statue, appreciating the craftsmanship and the emotion captured in the stone. It's a reminder of the resilience of the human spirit, a theme that has echoed through your journey in Florence. You think about how the rain has shaped not just the landscape but the very artistry that defines the city. After spending time with David, you explore the rest of the gallery, admiring the works of other Renaissance masters. Each painting and sculpture tells a story, and you find yourself captivated by the way the artists have captured the essence of their subjects: joy, sorrow, love, and loss. You can feel the emotions resonating through the canvas, and you reflect on how, like the rain, art can evoke deep feelings and forge connections across time. When you finally step back outside, the sun is shining brightly, and you feel invigorated by your experiences. The streets of Florence are alive with activity, and you're eager to continue your exploration. You decide to wander toward the historic Santa Maria Novella, another architectural gem that beckons from the distance. As you walk, you notice the small details that make Florence so enchanting. The way the sunlight dances along the walls, the vibrant flowers blooming in window boxes, and the laughter of children playing in the streets. Each moment is a reminder that life is a tapestry woven from both the storms and the sunshine. Arriving at Santa Maria Novella, you stand in awe of its striking facade, a beautiful blend of Gothic and Renaissance architecture. The intricate patterns of the marble facade are even more stunning against the clear blue sky. You take a moment to soak in the beauty of the church before stepping inside. The interior is cool and serene, a stark contrast to the lively streets outside. You wander through the nave, admiring the frescoes that adorn the walls, each one telling a story of faith and devotion. The rain has given way to a sense of peace, and you find solace in this sacred space as you explore the church. You come across a small chapel dedicated to the Virgin Mary. The soft light filtering through the stained glass illuminates the intricate details of the artwork, creating a peaceful ambience. You take a moment to reflect, allowing the quiet to wash over you, and you find comfort in the knowledge that, just like the rain, moments of tranquility can lead to personal growth and renewal. After exploring Santa Maria Novella, you emerge back into the lively streets of Florence, feeling a sense of rejuvenation. The day is still young, and you're eager to continue your journey through this remarkable city. With each step, you carry the lessons of the rain with you: resilience, connection, and the beauty of embracing life's challenges. As you wander, you can't help but wonder what other stories await you in the streets of Florence. The rain may have passed, but its impact lingers, shaping your experiences in unexpected ways. With a heart full of gratitude, you head onward, ready to embrace whatever adventures lie ahead. With a renewed sense of purpose, you set off from Santa Maria Novella, ready to explore more of Florence's hidden treasures. The city is a tapestry of rich history and vibrant life, and each corner promises a new adventure. As you navigate through the bustling streets, you find yourself drawn toward the historic Mercato di San Lorenzo, famous for its fresh produce and artisan goods. As you approach the market, you're greeted by a symphony of sounds: the chatter of vendors hawking their wares, the laughter of children, and the occasional call of a street performer trying to capture the attention of passers-by. The atmosphere is electric, and you feel a surge of excitement as you step into the market's lively embrace. The sights and smells are overwhelming in the best possible way. Colorful stalls overflow with fruits and vegetables, their freshness accentuated by the morning sun. You pause to admire the vibrant produce, from plump tomatoes to fragrant basil, each item a testament to the region's agricultural bounty. You overhear a vendor enthusiastically explaining the benefits of heirloom tomatoes to a curious customer, highlighting how the recent rain has made them even sweeter this season. You decide to sample some of the local delicacies. At a nearby stall, a cheese vendor offers you a taste of pecorino, its rich, creamy flavor melting on your tongue. Best enjoyed with a drizzle of honey, he advises, and you follow his suggestion, savoring the delightful combination of savory and sweet. It's moments like this that remind you how the rain enriches not just the landscape but also the flavors of the city. Moving further into the market, you discover a stall selling handmade pasta. The vendor stands proudly behind a table filled with various shapes and colors, all made fresh that morning. You strike up a conversation, and he explains how the rain affects the quality of the dough. Humidity is a pasta maker's best friend, he says with a grin. It keeps the dough supple and easy to work with. You're fascinated by his passion and ask for his recommendation on the best sauce to pair with his creations. As you wander from stall to stall, you're struck by the sense of community that permeates the market. Neighbors greet each other warmly, sharing recipes and cooking tips, while families gather to shop for their meals. You overhear discussions about the best ways to utilize the fresh produce in seasonal dishes, and you feel a sense of camaraderie among the Florentines. The rain has encouraged this shared experience of gathering and nourishing one another. A particularly quirky vendor catches your eye as you pass his stall filled with colorful jars of preserved fruits and vegetables. He enthusiastically describes his specialty, rainy day relish, a tangy concoction made from seasonal harvests, perfect for brightening up any meal. He offers you a sample, and you find yourself enchanted by the bold flavors. This is made with the first rain of the season, he explains. It captures the essence of the earth after a storm. You can see the pride in his eyes as he shares his craft, and you can't resist purchasing a jar to take home. After filling your bag with fresh produce, cheeses, and that tantalizing relish, you decide to find a quiet corner to enjoy a light lunch. You spot a small cafe tucked away at the edge of the market, its outdoor seating shaded by colorful umbrellas. You order a simple plate of bruschetta topped with fresh tomatoes and basil, paired with a glass of local Chianti. As you sit at your table, you take a moment to savor the flavors, enjoying the warmth of the sun on your face. You can't help but reflect on how the rain has not only nourished the earth but also the spirit of Florence. It has brought people together, inspired creativity, and fostered connections in ways that are both simple and profound. Every interaction you've had, every meal you've shared, has been enhanced by the shared experience of the storm. As you finish your meal, you take a moment to soak in the atmosphere around you, the bustling market, the laughter of families, the chatter of friends. It's a beautiful reminder that life in Florence is a constant dance between the elements, each part of the cycle contributing to the city's rich tapestry. Feeling rejuvenated, you decide to continue your exploration. You wander through the market one last time, picking up a few more local treats, some artisanal bread and a small jar of olive oil that promises to elevate any dish. As you leave, you feel a sense of accomplishment, each item a reminder of the connections you've made and the experiences you've shared. With the sun climbing higher in the sky, you set your sights on the nearby Palazzo Pitti, eager to explore its lush gardens and grand architecture. The rain has left the grounds vibrant, and you anticipate a peaceful walk through the Boboli Gardens, a perfect way to reflect on your adventures. Thus as you approach the palace, you can see the intricate details of the facade glistening in the sunlight, a testament to the artistry and craftsmanship that defines Florence. You take a deep breath, ready to immerse yourself in the beauty of the gardens, knowing that every step in the city is an opportunity to discover something new. With each moment, you feel more connected to Florence, a city that embraces both rain and shine, celebrating life in all its forms. You step through the gates of the Palazzo Pitti, eager to see what wonders await you within its walls and gardens, knowing that the rain has only added to the richness of your journey. As you enter the Palazzo Pitti, you are immediately struck by the grandeur of the space. The vast halls are adorned with stunning frescoes and intricate tapestries, each telling a story of Florence's illustrious past. You can feel the weight of history in the air, a palpable reminder of the city's cultural significance. The rain may have come and gone, but the legacy of those who walked these halls remains ever present. You decide to explore the interior of the palace first, wandering from room to room, each one filled with incredible works of art and historical artifacts. In the Palatine Gallery, you marvel at paintings by masters such as Raphael and Titian, their colors vibrant and their subjects alive with emotion. The artists have captured not just images, but the very essence of their time, echoes of joy, sorrow, and the complexities of human experience. That as you stand before a breathtaking portrait of a noblewoman, you feel a connection to the past. The artist's brushstrokes seem to whisper secrets of the era, and you can almost imagine the life she led, the challenges she faced. Challenges not unlike those you've encountered during your journey through Florence's rain-soaked streets. You ponder how the rain, in its own way, has shaped your understanding of the city, fostering a deeper appreciation for its art and culture. After spending time in the gallery, you venture into the royal apartments, where the opulence of the Medici family is on full display. The grand salons, with their gilded ceilings and ornate furnishings, speak of a lifestyle that was simultaneously lavish and cloistered. You can almost hear the echoes of grand parties held within these walls, where laughter and music filled the air, and the rain outside was merely a distant memory. After thoroughly exploring the interior, you make your way outside to the Boboli Gardens, eager to experience the beauty of nature that has flourished after the rain. As you step into the gardens, you are greeted by a tapestry of greenery. Lush lawns, vibrant flowers, and sculpted hedges. The sound of water trickling from fountains creates a soothing ambience, and you can feel the stress of the day melting away as you immerse yourself in this tranquil oasis. You stroll along the winding paths, pausing to admire the carefully curated landscapes and the stunning views of Florence that unfold before you. The gardens are alive with color, the flowers blooming vibrantly in the wake of the rain. You can see bees buzzing happily from bloom to bloom, and the air is filled with the sweet scent of blossoms mingling with the earth's freshness. As you walk, you come across a small pond surrounded by weeping willows, their branches swaying gently in the breeze. You take a seat on a nearby bench, allowing yourself a moment of quiet reflection. The rain has transformed not only the city but also your own perspective, reminding you of the beauty that can emerge from challenges. You think about the connections you've made, the stories you've heard, and the lessons learned along the way. You pull out your notebook, inspired to jot down some thoughts and insights gathered from your journey. You write about the rain that has woven its way through your experiences, how it has brought people together, inspired creativity, and served as a reminder of life's unpredictability. Each word flows easily, and you find solace in the act of writing, capturing the essence of your time in Florence as you pen your thoughts. You are joined by a young woman who appears to be sketching the gardens. Her easel is propped up nearby, and she glances over with a friendly smile. You strike up a conversation, and she shares her experiences of living in Florence as an art student. She talks about how the rain inspires her work, how it alters the light and colors in her paintings, creating a sense of depth that is unique to the city. You discuss your own journey through Florence, and she nods in understanding. The rain teaches us to appreciate the beauty of the moment, she says thoughtfully. It reminds us that change is a part of life, and sometimes the most beautiful things come from the unexpected. Her words resonate deeply with you, and you feel a sense of connection with this fellow traveler who shares your appreciation for the art and culture of Florence. As the sun begins to dip lower in the sky, casting a warm glow over the gardens, you exchange contact information with the artist, promising to meet up again to explore more of the city together. It feels good to connect with someone who shares your passion for art and creativity, and you leave the gardens with a sense of excitement for future adventures. With the evening approaching, you decide to head back to the city center, eager to experience the nightlife that Florence has to offer. As you walk through the streets, you notice the vibrancy of the city in full swing. Restaurants filled with laughter, street performers entertaining crowds, and the sweet scent of gelato wafting through the air. You find a quaint gelateria and treat yourself to a scoop of pistachio gelato, its creamy texture and nutty flavor a delightful indulgence. As you savor each bite, you reflect on how the rain has shaped your experiences in such profound ways, from the connections made to the inspirations found in art and nature. As the evening unfolds, you explore the streets with a sense of wonder, soaking in the sights and sounds of Florence at night. The city feels alive, a tapestry of history, culture, and community woven together by the threads of everyday life. You realize that, like the rain, every moment holds the potential for beauty and connection, and you feel grateful for the journey that has led you here. With a heart full of joy and a spirit ready for new adventures, you continue down the vibrant streets of Florence, eager to see what other experiences await you in this enchanting city. The rain may have passed, but its legacy lingers, reminding you that every storm can yield a brighter tomorrow, and every experience is a part of the rich story of life. As you wander through the lively streets of Florence, the sun has now set, and the city is illuminated by a soft, golden glow. The atmosphere is electric, filled with the sounds of laughter and music echoing from nearby piazzas. You decide to follow the inviting melodies, drawn toward the heart of the nightlife that Florence has to offer. You find yourself in Piazza della Repubblica once again, where the energy is palpable. Street performers have gathered, showcasing their talents to a captivated audience. A trio of musicians strums lively folk tunes, their melodies weaving through the air, and couples sway to the rhythm, their movements a dance of joy and connection. You can't help but smile at the sight. Florence, it seems, has a way of turning every moment into a celebration. You join the crowd, letting the music envelop you. The rain from earlier in the day feels like a distant memory, replaced by the warmth of community and connection. You notice a group of young artists seated nearby, sketching the scene before them. Their passion for capturing the vibrancy of the moment is infectious, and you find yourself inspired by their creativity. Eventually, the music shifts to a slower tempo, and the atmosphere becomes more intimate. You take a moment to observe the people around you, friends gathered together, sharing stories and laughter, and strangers becoming friends over the shared experience of music and dance. It's a beautiful reminder that the rain, which once felt like an obstacle, has instead fostered a sense of unity among the people of Florence as the night progresses. You decide to explore the nearby streets, seeking out hidden gems and local haunts that reflect the soul of the city. You meander through narrow alleyways adorned with twinkling lights, each turn revealing a new cafe or bar brimming with life. The warm glow from the windows beckons you inside, and you can hear the sound of clinking glasses and cheerful chatter spilling out onto the streets. You spot a small wine bar tucked away in a corner, its exterior adorned with climbing ivy. The atmosphere is cozy and inviting, and you step inside to escape the evening chill. The bar is lined with shelves of local wines, and the owner, a friendly woman with a warm smile, welcomes you with open arms. "Try our Chianti," she offers, pouring you a generous glass. It's a perfect way to toast to the beauty of life in Florence. You take a seat at the bar, savoring the rich flavors of the wine as you chat with the owner about the local vineyards and the impact of the weather on the grapes. She shares stories of how the rain nourishes the vines, leading to bountiful harvests and exquisite flavors. Every bottle tells a story, she says, her eyes sparkling with passion. And every storm shapes those stories in its own way. As you sip your wine, you strike up a conversation with a couple seated next to you. They share their own experiences of exploring Florence, recounting how the rain has enhanced their journey through the city. We found the best gelato shop on a rainy day. The woman laughs, recalling how they ducked inside for shelter and discovered a hidden gem. Their stories resonate with you, and you feel a sense of camaraderie among fellow travelers who share a love for the city. The bar fills with laughter and conversation, and you find yourself immersed in the warmth of the gathering. The rain has brought people together in unexpected ways, fostering connections that transcend language and culture. You realize that Florence, with its rich history and vibrant community, has a unique ability to turn even the simplest moments into lasting memories. After finishing your glass of wine, you decide to venture back outside, eager to continue exploring. The streets are now alive with the sounds of laughter and music, and you feel a sense of excitement as you navigate through the crowd. You find yourself drawn to a nearby piazza, where a group of performers has set up a stage, their energy infectious as you join the throng of spectators. The performers begin to engage the audience with playful antics and dance. Their joy is contagious, and soon the crowd is joining in, clapping and singing along. You can see how the rain has washed away inhibitions, allowing everyone to embrace the moment and celebrate life together. It's a beautiful reminder that, despite the storms that may come, there is always room for joy and laughter as the evening continues. You lose track of time, caught up in the celebration. The rain has transformed your experience in Florence, turning it into a journey of connection and creativity. Each encounter, each story shared, feels like a thread woven into the tapestry of your adventure. Eventually, the performance draws to a close, and the crowd begins to disperse, but you linger for a moment, soaking in the atmosphere. The night sky is dotted with stars, and the air is filled with the sounds of laughter and music drifting through the streets. You feel a profound sense of gratitude for the experiences you've had and the connections you've made as you make your way back toward your lodgings. You reflect on how the rain has shaped your journey through Florence. It has brought people together, inspired creativity, and created a sense of community that feels vibrant and alive. The city, with its rich history and resilient spirit, has become a part of you, a reminder that life is meant to be celebrated, even amid the storms. With a heart full of memories and a spirit ready for more adventures, you look forward to what tomorrow will bring. Florence has shown you the beauty of embracing every moment, rain or shine, and you know that your journey is far from over. With your newly acquired print tucked safely under your arm, you feel a surge of excitement as you continue your exploration of Florence. The sun is now at its zenith, casting a warm glow over the city and inviting you to discover more of its hidden gems. You meander through the charming streets of the Altrano district, where artisan workshops and quaint cafes beckon from every corner. Your first stop is a small workshop specializing in handcrafted jewelry. The shop is filled with beautiful pieces made from gold and silver, each one intricately designed and reflecting the light beautifully. You're greeted by a friendly artisan who invites you to browse. She enthusiastically explains the inspiration behind her work, detailing how the natural forms of Florence's landscapes influence her designs. Just like the rain shapes our city, I like to think it shapes my art as well, she says with a smile that as you admire the delicate necklaces and earrings, you can see how each piece tells a story, a connection to the city itself. You decide to purchase a simple yet elegant silver pendant shaped like a raindrop, a fitting reminder of your journey through Florence. The artisan wraps it carefully, and you can't help but feel a sense of satisfaction knowing that you're taking home a piece of the city's artistry. Leaving the workshop, you wander toward the nearby Palazzo Santo Spirito, a beautiful church known for its serene atmosphere. As you step inside, you're greeted by the soft light filtering through the stained glass windows, casting colorful patterns on the stone floor. The interior is calm and inviting, a perfect space for reflection after the bustling energy of the market. You take a moment to sit in one of the pews, allowing the tranquility of the space to envelop you. The beauty of the architecture and the artistry of the frescoes on the walls remind you of the deep connection between Florence's past and present. Just like the rain that nourishes the land, the art and culture of the city continue to thrive, inspiring generations. After some time in quiet contemplation, you decide to explore the surrounding neighborhood. The streets are lined with charming shops and cafes, each one offering a glimpse into the local way of life. You stop at a small cafe with outdoor seating, its tables adorned with colorful flowers. The owner greets you with a warm smile and offers you a refreshing glass of limoncello, perfect for the sunny day. As you sip your drink, you strike up a conversation with a couple at the next table. They have traveled from afar to experience the beauty of Florence, and you share stories of your adventures, including your encounters with the rain. They express their own appreciation for the city's charm, noting how the rain has brought an unexpected vibrancy to their visit. It's a reminder that no matter where you come from, the power of connection transcends borders. After finishing your drink, you decide to explore a nearby artisan market that you've heard so much about. The market is bustling with locals and tourists, each stall offering handmade goods, everything from ceramics to textiles, each crafted with care and attention to detail. You wander through the stalls, admiring the creativity on display and enjoying the lively atmosphere that fills the air. You stumble upon a stall selling handmade paper goods, including journals and cards adorned with beautiful calligraphy. The artist behind the stall explains that she draws inspiration from the natural beauty of Florence, often incorporating elements of the landscape into her designs. You're struck by the intricate details, and you decide to purchase a few cards to send to friends back home, sharing a piece of Florence with them. As you continue to wander, you find a group of musicians playing lively folk tunes in the center of the market. The cheerful melodies draw a crowd, and you can see people dancing and clapping along to the rhythm. The sense of joy is palpable, and you feel the urge to join in, allowing the music to lift your spirits even higher. You spend some time dancing and enjoying the atmosphere, the community spirit infectious. It's moments like these that remind you of the true essence of Florence, a city that knows how to celebrate life, rain or shine. The rain has washed away the mundane, revealing the vibrant heart of the community, and you feel grateful to be a part of it. After a while, the music begins to wind down, and you take a moment to catch your breath. You glance around the market, noticing the smiles on people's faces and the connections being forged through shared experiences. You realize that Florence is not just a city to visit. It is a place to connect, to grow, and to be inspired. Feeling rejuvenated, you decide to head toward the iconic Piazzale Michelangelo, known for its breathtaking panoramic views of the city. As you make your way up the hill, you can see the sun beginning to dip toward the horizon, casting a golden light over the rooftops of Florence. The climb is invigorating, and you can feel the anticipation building as you approach the viewpoint. When you finally reach Piazzale Michelangelo, you are greeted by a stunning vista of Florence laid out before you. The Arno flows gracefully through the city, and the domes of the churches and the towers of the palazzos rise majestically against the backdrop of the setting sun. The beauty of the scene takes your breath away. You take a moment to absorb the view, feeling a deep sense of gratitude for the journey that has led you here. The rain has shaped your experience in ways you could never have anticipated, enriching your understanding of the city and its people. You pull out your camera to capture the moment, wanting to remember not just the beauty of the view but the feelings it evokes as the sky shifts from brilliant gold to soft shades of pink and lavender. You find a quiet spot to sit and reflect. The tranquility of the moment washes over you, a peaceful pause in the midst of the vibrant energy of Florence. You think about the connections you've made, the stories you've gathered, and the lessons learned along the way. With the sun setting and the city bathed in warm light, you realize that your journey through Florence has been more than just a series of sights. It has been a journey of the heart. The rain, the art, the laughter, and the friendships have all contributed to a rich tapestry of experiences that will stay with you long after you leave. As the last rays of sunshine fade into the horizon, you feel a sense of contentment and fulfillment. Florence has shown you the beauty of embracing life in all its forms, and you know that this city will forever hold a special place in your heart. With a final glance at the breathtaking view, you begin your descent, ready to continue your exploration of Florence, eager to see what other adventures await you in this enchanting city. The next morning, you awake with a sense of anticipation bubbling within you. The sun streams through your window, illuminating the room and casting playful shadows against the walls. You take a moment to stretch and breathe deeply, savoring the lingering scent of rain and earth from the previous day. Excitement courses through you as you prepare for another day of exploration in Florence. After a quick breakfast, you grab your notebook and camera, ready to capture the beauty that awaits. Today, you decide to venture toward the historic neighborhood of San Niccolò, known for its charming streets and artistic vibe. As you make your way through the winding alleys, you can feel the pulse of the city, each step a reminder of the vibrant life that thrives here. As you enter San Niccolò, the atmosphere shifts slightly. This area feels more residential and intimate, with small artisan shops and cafes tucked into the corners of the streets. You can hear the sound of laughter and conversation drifting from a nearby cafe, and you decide to stop in for a quick espresso. The barista greets you with a warm smile and prepares your drink with care, a true reflection of the Italian coffee culture that values quality and connection. With your espresso in hand, you take a seat at an outdoor table, letting the warmth of the sun wash over you. You watch as locals greet each other with familiarity, their conversations flowing easily. It's a beautiful reminder of how the rain has fostered a sense of community, encouraging people to come together in shared moments of joy and resilience. After finishing your coffee, you set off to explore the streets of San Niccolò. You come across a small gallery showcasing local artists, their works inspired by the beauty of Florence and its landscapes. The gallery's walls are adorned with colorful paintings and intricate sculptures, each piece telling a story of its own. You find yourself mesmerized by a painting that captures the essence of a rainy day in Florence. The reflections of the buildings in puddles, the soft light filtering through clouds, and the vibrant colors that come alive after a storm. Feeling inspired, you decide to chat with the gallery owner, who shares insights into the artists and their creative processes. Many of them find inspiration in the weather, she explains, pointing to a striking piece that depicts a stormy sky over the Arno. The rain can evoke strong emotions and transform the landscape, making it a powerful muse. You nod, resonating with her words, and you can't help but feel grateful for how the weather has shaped your own experiences in this city as you leave the gallery. You continue your exploration through the narrow streets, each turn revealing something new. A hidden courtyard, a vibrant mural, or a quaint shop filled with handmade goods. The rain has not only refreshed the city but has also brought forth a sense of creativity and inspiration that permeates the air. You find yourself wandering toward the ancient walls of Florence, where the views are breathtaking. From the top, you can see the rooftops of the city stretching out before you, the Arno winding its way through the heart of Florence. You take a moment to soak in the view, feeling a sense of connection to the city and its history. The rain has washed away the past, but it has also left behind a legacy of resilience, artistry, and beauty as you make your way back down from the walls. You stumble upon a small outdoor market, bustling with activity. Vendors proudly display their handmade crafts, from pottery to textiles, each piece a reflection of the rich traditions of Florence. You chat with a few artisans, learning about their crafts and how they draw inspiration from the city's beauty and history. It's a reminder that creativity flourishes in the most unexpected places, often sparked by the very environment that surrounds us. Feeling invigorated by your interactions, you decide to head toward the nearby Boboli Gardens again, eager to see how the landscape has changed since your last visit. The gardens, with their lush greenery and beautifully manicured hedges, are even more vibrant after the rain. You wander along the winding paths, taking in the sights and sounds of nature. The air is filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers, and you can hear the distant sound of water trickling from the fountains as you explore. You find a quiet spot beneath a sprawling oak tree, its branches providing a shady refuge. You take a seat on a nearby bench, pulling out your notebook to jot down your thoughts and reflections. The rain has invigorated your creativity, and you feel inspired to capture the beauty of the moment on paper. You write about the connections you've made, the stories you've heard, and the lessons you've learned during your time in Florence. You reflect on how the rain has shaped your journey, reminding you of the resilience of the city and its people. Each word flows easily as you pour your heart onto the pages, feeling a sense of catharsis with each stroke of the pen. After spending time in quiet reflection, you decide to continue your exploration of the gardens. You wander deeper into the landscape, discovering hidden corners filled with sculptures and fountains. Each turn reveals something new: a playful cherub, a majestic statue, or a tranquil pond, and you find yourself enchanted by the beauty that surrounds you. As you meander through the gardens, you come across a group of artists sketching the scenery. You stop to admire their work, noticing how each artist interprets the landscape in their unique style. One artist captures the vibrant colors of the flowers, while another focuses on the intricate details of the statues. You strike up a conversation, sharing your own experiences and thoughts on the beauty of Florence. Feeling inspired by their creativity, you decide to join them for a while, pulling out your notebook once more. You sketch the scene before you, trying to capture the essence of the gardens and the artists who inhabit them. It's a reminder that Florence is not just a city to be visited, but a place that inspires creativity and connection in all who experience it. As the sun begins to dip lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the gardens, you realize that your time in Florence is drawing to a close. You feel a mix of emotions: gratitude for the experiences you've had, sadness at the thought of leaving, and excitement for the memories you'll carry with you. With a heart full of stories and a spirit ready for new adventures, you take one last stroll through the gardens, allowing the beauty of the moment to wash over you. You know that the rain has shaped not only your journey but also the very essence of Florence, leaving behind a legacy of resilience, creativity, and connection. As you make your way back to the entrance of the gardens, you pause to take in the view one last time. The city stands before you, a tapestry of colors and stories, each one woven together by the threads of life. You smile, knowing that Florence will always hold a special place in your heart, a city that dances in the rain and sings to the sun. With your notebook filled with reflections and your heart brimming with memories, you step back into the vibrant streets of Florence, ready to embrace whatever adventures lie ahead. The rain may have passed, but its legacy lingers, reminding you that every storm brings an opportunity for growth and beauty. As the evening unfolds, you continue to explore, moving toward the enchanting streets of the Altrano district. The sun begins to set, casting a warm glow over the city, illuminating the paths you've walked and the memories you've created. The air is alive with the sound of laughter and music, and you can feel the excitement of the night ahead. You wander through the streets, soaking in the ambience, the vibrant colors of the buildings enhanced by the soft light. Each turn reveals a new treasure: a cozy cafe, a hidden workshop, or a quiet piazza filled with locals enjoying the evening. You pause to admire a street artist capturing the beauty of the sunset on canvas, and you reflect on how the rain has enriched the colors and life of Florence. With a heart full of gratitude, you find a quiet spot to sit and reflect. The beauty of the city surrounds you, and you take a moment to appreciate how each experience has shaped your journey. The rain has not only nourished the earth, but has also forged connections, inspired creativity, and created unforgettable moments that will stay with you forever. As the stars begin to twinkle overhead, you feel a sense of peace wash over you. You realize that your time in Florence has been more than just a visit. It has been a journey of the heart, a celebration of resilience, creativity, and connection. The rain has become a part of your story, and you carry its lessons with you as you move forward. With the night deepening and the sounds of the city wrapping around you like a warm embrace, you rise from your seat and begin your walk back to your lodgings. Each step feels lighter, filled with the joy of the experiences you've gathered along the way. You look forward to what tomorrow will bring, knowing that your adventure in Florence is far from over. As you reach your lodgings, you take one last glance back at the city, feeling grateful for the journey that has led you to this moment. Florence, with its rain and sunshine, has woven itself into your heart, a reminder of the beauty found in every storm and the connections forged through shared experiences. With a heart full of joy and a spirit ready for new adventures, you close your eyes, allowing the memories of Florence to wash over you like a gentle rain. carrying you off into a peaceful slumber.